Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the NBA's Western Conference Finals begin tonight from Oklahoma City. The Thunder hosting the Timberwolves. 5:30 tip on ESPN. We'll have coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starting at 5 o'clock. The Thunder are 7-point favorites. Blazers center Donovan Clingan named to the all-rookie second team. He averaged 6.5 points, 7.9 boards, and 1.6 blocks per game while shooting 54% from the floor. Over on the diamond, winners of 4 straight games, the Mariners' road trip continues this afternoon on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox. 4:40 first pitch on Root Sports. Looks like Seattle will start Casey Legumina opposite Bryce Wilson for Chicago. The Mariners with a 2.5-game lead over the Astros in the AL West. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting a vote on whether to allow NFL players to participate in flag football at the 2028 LA Olympics is expected to pass. NFL owners will also vote on a proposal to ban the tush push. And game 1 of the East Final tonight in the Stanley Cup playoff. Hurricanes hosting the Panthers. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on TNT and Max. The Hurricanes minus 125 on the money line. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan Merch Locker has a new black 1080 The Fan hoodie, as well as classic long and short sleeve tees. Get yours now at 1080thefan.com. This is Danny and Dusty.
Orangutan is going to be a thing.
You're not coining anything new.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
I'll throw some monkey sounds in there and call it good.
The old Danny meringue pie.
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
The Fan.
Good afternoon. Hey, welcome in. Happy Tuesday. Danny and Dusty with you. How's everybody doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm feeling great. Well, my back hurts, but I'm great.
We finished the run?
Oh yeah. The run went fine.
How'd everything else go?
Well, it was all great. It was all great.
Doctor said I need a backiotomy.
That's true. It was so 5K. My wife did win.
I would say, how many lengths did she beat you by?
A lot. She was running like 720 miles.
What were you running?
8s. So she beat me by 2 minutes.
That'll happen.
She beat me by 2 minutes, and I felt good about my time. I felt good. I was okay. But boy, that whole elevation thing. You know what Denver should do? They should advertise more that they're at a mile high.
I told you, man.
You know, it just feels.
You said you were 4,400 feet.
Yeah. That's what I think. That's what it said on there. It was 4,400 feet.
It'll get you, man.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You
I
find
don't like
yourself
running.
You find yourself like reaching out for air, and it's just not there.
No, it just feels like there's like a python wrapped around your lungs the entire time. But it was. I did it. It's done. You know when you're cursing out, you know, one of your best friends on his birthday. It's a rewarding feeling.
Absolutely. That's how it should go.
You know, just sitting there for, 20 plus minutes or 24 minutes or whatever it was, just going, why am I friends with you? Why do I do this? What am I doing here? Golly. But it was good. The other events, we had cornhole, pickleball, free throw competition. It was a fun time. It was a great time out in Sun River. The weather was not great though. It was like that cloudy, rainy kind of
drizzle.
Blah. Yeah. But it's that high desert air. You're good. I love Sun River. We really are lucky to have. We have the Oregon coast, which we get like a handful of good days every year. You get the Willamette Valley, which is awesome, and then you have the high desert, and it's all within 3 hours of us right here.
So
it's great.
The cool thing about being in the military is you run into people from all over the world, and so often you run into people that have never been up here, or Oregon or Washington, and all they know is Portlandia or the Seattle grunge vibe. They don't really know what it is, and I always tell people, like, man, where I live,
weirdos and trees.
I have an hour drive to a 12,000 foot tall mountain. I have an hour drive to an ocean. I have, an hour and a half, 2-hour drive to like wide open valleys and plains, and a 3-hour drive to dunes. I have a 2-hour drive to the desert. I have a 20-minute drive to multiple rivers. Like, there's like no other, like, I've been all over the world. There are very few places that are as geographically diverse in such a small area as this place.
Yeah.
And it is like one of the main reasons I stay here.
I actually played football with a guy from Buffalo, New York, who in college, all he did was he Googled college, football, mountain, water.
My man wanted to get away from the flat land.
And he found Ashland, Oregon. And he loved it. He still lives in Ashland, Oregon 20 plus years later. He's still down there. He came up here. He actually played for the Portland Lumberjacks. Yeah, after he was done. Jameson Whitehead.
Oh, no
his
kidding.
name.
Yeah.
Great dude. And
Lumberjacks or Forest Dragons?
Nope, Lumberjacks.
Yeah,
He played
lacrosse.
the professional indoor lacrosse
alrighty.
up here. Yeah, he was a great dude. He was a better lacrosse player than football player, but there wasn't a lot of lacrosse options. So he ended up doing that, and now he's living back down. He works for, I think, the Department of Wildlife, Fish and Wildlife. Yeah, he's living the dream, man.
I know a dude who's a forest ranger who sits in one of those towers all summer long in Montana.
Yeah, that'd be boring.
He loves it.
Yeah,
He
For
loves
some
it.
people, man.
It's
For
like
some people.
it is his dream place to be.
We also, when Whitehead showed up from Buffalo, he didn't have a place to live yet. And so our coach was like, hey, can he stay with you guys? We're like, all right. I'm gone. I'm out of the house. And I get a call. I was like, hey, we lost the new guy. And I was like, what do you mean you lost the new guy? He's like, well, he said he wanted to go for a bike ride. And it's been 4 hours. We don't know where he is. Wasn't picking up his phone.
Didn't have the Find My iPhone back then either.
He went on a bike ride and popped a tire.
Oh, no. And he had to walk it back.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He went down there's a bike path that basically connects Ashland all the way up to Medford. He was on that somewhere, and then it got dark.
Oh, no.
And he didn't know where he was, and he didn't have any of our numbers. We only had his number. He didn't get service for a lot of it. He was gone for a good 8 hours. We lost him for a work day. He popped back up. We were like, hey, where have you been? He's like, oh, got a flat tire. He was just carrying the bike.
Yeah, I had to do that once with the road bike, and then after that, so you get the little pouch you can put under your seat. You can put a spare into, and that having to walk with clip-ins on, with like penguin walk a long period of time, not fun.
Yeah, he wasn't on that kind of bike.
Yeah,
he was just cruising,
mountain biking.
Just cruising. Got lost. That's one of several people we lost. We found them all. We found them all,
which is not uncommon in Ashland.
Well, we actually lose a lot.
That's what I'm saying. You lose a lot of people.
Yeah, no, but we lose them. They're gone for good.
Yeah,
I don't know where they go. Yeah, we had guys that went missing for a week.
Permanent darkness retreat.
And you're like, where were you? He's like, oh, Humboldt.
Yeah.
Oh, I know where you were. It's like
a little opium den.
A phone call would have been nice.
Yeah. But you don't go to Ashland unless you want to be able to disappear for a week.
Yeah, that's right. Or
it'd be a lot cooler if you did.
The ones that you really lose are the ones that become hippies, and you're like, oh boy, they live that Aaron Rodgers lifestyle. Yeah. They get them quick.
Yeah.
They get
hooks in, and you're cooked.
You watch that documentary Wild Wild Country about the Rajneeshis on Netflix?
My wife did, and I caught some of it.
Oh, you should watch it. You should watch it. There's a lot of people in my life that I watched it and I went, they definitely would have joined this cult.
Oh yeah,
you 100% would have been so down to join this cult. You are just lucky it happened.
Away from you.
20 years earlier, or you would have been in the thick of it.
everybody else was like, I don't. How do cults happen? How do they work? I just can't believe it. And then you see it, and you're like, I can see it.
Mm-hmm. That one,
Yeah.
communal lifestyle, living off the land, a life seemingly good, drugs.
Mhm.
Like there's so many people. I was like, yeah, your life would be a lot different, man. Now, because like eventually those people figured it out. Like the people that I know, they figured it out.
Sure.
They're well-adjusted humans. If that opportunity would have been there between the ages of 18 and 21 or 22,
They go from well-adjusted to poorly adjusted very quickly.
they're gone. They are people that are cult survivors or not.
Or in jail.
That's right.
It happens.
For poissoning the dowels.
Yeah.
Not good people.
No.
Not
terrible.
good people.
Also, I have a bone to pick with you.
All right, what do we got?
You hexed me.
No, you did it to
hexed me.
yourself. You did it to yourself. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. And
I know you do because I texted you because I was pissed.
You can't. No. No. This is rule number 1 of I'm getting into golfing guy. Okay. And I'm taking lessons guy.
Yeah.
You go to lessons, you figure it out, and you're like, oh, this feels really good. This is going to change who I am.
Yep.
And you came to me saying, I'm going in the 90s.
Yep.
And I said, you just guaranteed yourself 105
You
is what I said.
105, I went 107.
You went 107.
Issues that I've never had on a golf course, all of them.
You will
All
learn
of them.
this.
All of them. And it was so frustrating.
It is going to stop you
Mm.
from ever saying, I'm going to shoot X.
Yeah.
Like it's a learning experience. I didn't do it. Golf gods did it. That don't you put that evil on
I'm
me,
putting
Ricky
it on
Bobby.
you.
That is something that you go through. And you learned.
Oh,
you
God,
learned.
it was-
Now you're not gonna cocky sniff your way out to a tee box ever again.
Oh, no, I am.
Did you see
100% I am.
Wyndham Clark at the PGA Championship throw his driver and snap it?
Yep.
Did you see Tyrell Hatton call himself an MFer about 80 times during? Yeah, I mean,
I think one of those he called his club the MFer
yeah, okay.
after he spit on it.
Yeah. Well, also, golf guy,
Tua.
you'll learn it's not you; it's your clubs.
See, I don't blame him.
It's a poor musician who blames his instrument.
I never blame the clubs. I blame the dummies swinging them. I did a lot of, what are you doing? You don't do this. You have other problems.
Yeah.
These are not your problems. These are somebody else's problems. Why are you doing these now?
They're your problems now, my man. They are your problems, and you welcome.
Yeah, then I
Welcome
went,
to
I went
golf.
out and did the TrackMan driving range yesterday, and they were all gone.
Oh yeah, how'd you?
We actually went really well.
All the TrackMan ones.
Yeah,
were?
I was actually really surprised. And I was like, okay, so I'm an idiot.
About what?
Just everything.
Oh, that made you think that?
I'm the idiot. See?
You've said that before.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm aware.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I've become a full on. Speaking of cults, I'm a golf cultist now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that just means you're an adult male.
Yeah.
You got there.
My wife is very supportive of this too.
Like you're either a golf cultist, a hunting cultist, you are a body of water guy. Just like, as just any body of water, lakes, rivers, oceans, you're just going to be a water cultist.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just fall into one of them.
I really thought I was gonna be barbecue guy. Go full barbecue smoker.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
Yeah, that has a lifespan for everybody too.
Yeah.
Like you get really into it and you get really good at it, and then you're like, all right, well, I can go back to this. I'll go back to this anytime.
Yeah.
And then you find something new. I feel like you'll be a golf cultist for a while, and then you're a hop around cult guy. I think you're going to be a hop around cult guy. There's going to become a time where you
Cult
start
dabbler?
playing. Yeah, you're going to start playing instruments again. That's what you're going to do.
That's already happened.
No,
that's already happened.
It'll all become cyclical.
No.
You just find new kinks.
I've told my wife I've been picking up or dropping little hints of me buying a new drum set again.
A drum set?
Oh yeah, I played for 20 years.
Well, yeah, but the loudest and most obnoxious.
I have a soundproof studio.
No,
that's fine.
No, there's
These
people
are
that say
soundproof
that all
too.
the
You
time.
can still hear stuff outside.
Yeah,
that's
we're
fine.
in a soundproof booth, and you can hear right outside.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can hear it.
I mean, it's
It's not.
It is.
It's not as much as you think.
It's good.
I'm speaking for your neighbors right now.
No, we're good.
I'm doing this for your
good.
neighbors.
We're good.
I don't
Speaking
think you
for
are.
his wife.
Nah, you won't hear it in the house.
There has to be, like, I mean, between the metal and now the drums. I mean, your wife has got to be able to just tune anything out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be like her superpower.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like she's the least of my worries. She's already a saint for picking up
me.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is gonna be. I'm speaking for the neighbors.
No, you know what's funny? Neighbors love metal too. Here's what's funny. My neighbors are huge Raiders fans and metal fans. Very convenient.
Huh.
Yeah. They have the RV.
You know what?
They have the RV. They drive down to Vegas for
that explains
for
a
a couple
lot.
weeks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think Raider folk just kind of find each other.
Yeah.
You know, you do.
Speaking of Colts.
Ooh, you should get electric drums with the headphones.
Yeah,
like
no,
this
I
texter says.
had a set. I don't like them. They feel weird.
Yeah.
They feel weird.
All right.
They sound weird.
Because you want it to be loud enough to where your soundproof studio does not.
No, it's the feel, man.
Yeah.
It's the feel.
All right. They don't have like the haptic drums yet
Nah,
that have a little
no.
bounce back.
I mean, they do, but they just still feel weird. It's like electric drums, like the condoms of the drum world.
Okay. Wait. We'll dive into that later. All right.
The sensation's gone.
Let's get this show on the road, shall's we? We've got the conference finals. They get underway this evening. We've got footballing so hard for this being May 20th. We've got so much news here.
We do.
We have a ton of news, including somebody outlining a way. Are we going to see a spending floor come to big time college football? But where we got to start, the big fella gets quite the honor. Or does he? Danny Dusty on the Fan. King Klong ain't got nothing on me. Well, actually, there's a couple of people that have something on Kling Kong. Donovan Clingan has been named to the second team All-Rookie.
A little bit of a surprise. I thought he had a decent chance of doing it, but I thought maybe one of the other bigs would squeeze him out. They ultimately ended up going with 5 bigs across both teams, which
Zach Edey on the first team.
And Alexar.
Alex Sarr, first team. Also making the first team were Stefan Castle, the Rookie of the Year, made it. Wow, good for him.
Unanimous.
Surprising.
100 first-team votes.
Yeah. Zachary Arizashea and Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells.
He had a really good season.
Probably the one guy that people didn't expect to be on one of these teams at the beginning of the year. He is on it.
And Jared McCain would have made this had he not gotten hurt, too.
Yeah. Second team, Matas Buzelis of the Bulls.
Big push, basically post January 15th on.
And then here's your run of Trailblazers. Former Blazer great Bub Carrington.
There you go.
Well, on draft day.
Indeed.
And then Donovan Clingan, former Duck, turned Indiana Hoosier, turned Miami Heat, Kellel Ware, and then Yves Missy making the second team. So Clingan, Ware, Missy, bigs on the second team, Edey, Sarr on the first team. 5 bigs. Return of the big man.
Isaiah Collier just missed out on the last spot, tying for one of the spots, but you can tie and make a team. Brandon Roy and Jorge Garbajosa tied for the first team in Brandon's rookie year.
Okay.
So the thing about all rookie teams is I just want to give you a couple guys here.
Was Ron Holland anywhere close?
I believe he finished 4th for first off, if I remember right.
Because, I mean, Ron Holland was obviously a high lottery pick. People had very high hopes of Ron Holland as he was coming out of Duncanville High School before he went and played in the
3rd
G League Ignite. But he came on more at the end of the year and played a role on a good team, and that's why people saw him a little bit more than others.
The only guy who was close was Collier. He missed it by 1. He got 52 total points.
All right.
Bub Carrington got 53. After that, you had Filipowski, Holland, and Connect at 19, 17, and 17 total points.
All right. Does this say more about anything about Donovan Clingan being on the second team, or would you think it says more about, look, that pivot that we've been talking about for a couple of years now to the game getting more physical as everything transitions so far to outside, perimeter-oriented, shooting threes, it's getting closer to the rim. 5 big men on the top 2 teams.
Yeah, I think it does play a part of it, but it was also that class was it was big heavy.
Ding, 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 ding.
That was a big part of it, and you don't often, think about that. You've got Sarr at 7 foot, you've got Ware at 7 foot, you've got DC at 7'3", Yves Missy's 6'11", like just a lot of really big dudes. And if you look at this class, it's very short on big men. Like if you're talking like true dyed-in-the-wool big men, it's just Malawach, who's, again, 7'2", 7'3". He's enormous, but
kind of skinny.
Thomas Sorber is, 6'9", 6'10". Derek Queen is 6'9", 6'10". Like, there's not a ton of guys in this class that are huge. And then next year's class, 2026 class, is loaded with wings. It's just cyclical. You'll kind of see that. But, no, I think it does play a part in it, though, as far as, like, getting bigger. Scarcity always plays a part in that. There's just the less dudes on the planet that are that big. But I've seen a lot of people, get upset or bothered by all rookie teams. I want to highlight a couple here. Giannis Antetokounmpo finished second team all rookie behind guys like Mason Plumlee and Trey Burke. Langston Galloway was an all rookie team member. You just kind of go through the list.
Trey
and
Burke had
a
minute. So did Blazer Great, Mason Plumlee.
Yogi Ferrell was a second team all rookie player. Jamal Murray and Jaylen Brown also on that second team.
I don't think the commissioner's going to like this, Yogi.
Yeah, there you go. Landry Shamet was
Was that Coach K, or was that
a little Coach K, a little boo-boo.
Yeah. I thought you were going Coach K at
They
first.
blend together a little bit,
Yeah.
I love Duke.
Bones Highland and Chris Duarte were all rookie team members. You can see some guys that pop up on here pretty regularly, and you're like, Oh, right. Here's the 2011-12 all-rookie team. Kenneth Faried, Kyrie Irving, Ricky Rubio, Klay Thompson. You're like, all right, pretty good. And then tied for first. There's a three-way tie for first, or for the last spot on the all-rookie team. Brandon Knight, Amon Shumpert, and Kawhi Leonard. One of those is not like the others.
Yeah.
Kawhi
Leonard.
Yeah, Marshawn Brooks,
Kawhi
Chandler
Leonard was good.
Parsons.
Amon Shumpert had a moment. He had moments.
Amon Shumpert is a very
serviceable guy.
I hate how we talk about guys who aren't all-stars. Like, if you have a 10-year career in the NBA, you were in like the 1% group of like, you're good. You're good.
And these are all first-team guys, right?
Yes.
If there are 5 stars in a draft class, that's more impressive than anything else. Like that draft class that you just said, the fact that there are 4 of them that you're like, damn.
Well, dude, 2017-18. Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, Kyle Kuzma, Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, that's
That's your
one.
first team. Hell, here's your first team from the next year.
All right.
Luka, Trey, DeAndre Ayton, Jaren Jackson, then Marvin Bagley. Your second team,
Ooh, Marvin.
SGA, Colin Sexton, Landry Shamet, Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Huerter.
Oh. Yikes.
I mean, there's
hit and miss. Draft classes matter, man.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's littered with really good players.
And the whole like
some
first or second team, like 2019-20. Ja, Kendrick Nunn, Brandon Clark, Zion, Eric Paschal. Then you've got second team, Tyler Hero, Terrence Davis, Kobe White, PJ Washington, Rui Hachimura. Like you will find guys that pop up on first teams. You're like, And you find a guy in the second team. You're like, that guy ended up being pretty damn good, or they completely fall off a cliff.
This seems like it's a good nod for Donovan Clingan, and I think that one thing that people saw out of him there were flashes of it being there. Conditioning was a problem throughout the entire rookie season for Donovan Clingan.
Yeah, it really wasn't until late January, that he really started. I mean, obviously the MCL was a prohibitive factor in that, but I mean, DC was very open about it in his exit interview. He said, "I finally got myself in shape." He didn't say, "Oh, the coach didn't play me," or this, that, or the other. He just it was so funny because so many Blazers fans are like, "Why isn't he playing more? It's this, it's that." It's like, no, Donovan wasn't in shape. You could hear it from his teammates. You could hear it from his coaches. You could hear it from the front office. You could hear it from Donovan. They all said the same thing. And once he got in shape, he got more minutes.
Well, also at the beginning of the year, too, there was the logjam of guys that they wanted to play and see with DeAndre Ayton and then also Robert Williams and then Donovan Clingan.
And DC just wasn't capable of playing more than 18, 20 minutes.
All right.
That was it.
And then, injuries happened and Donovan Clingan had to play and did play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got down to about I think he told me 285 or 287. I can't remember what it was. But he was over $3 billion for a little bit.
Well, he's 7'3".
Yeah, he's a massive human.
I would say that that's okay.
And he's not built like, Jared Allen. He's not just, cut from stone.
Yeah.
And that'll be interesting to see what he does with his body over the years. Like, does he find a way to really not lean out, but get a little more muscle on his frame? See how much more impactful he can be.
Yeah.
When I had him on the podcast during the season, I asked him, if anybody had surprised him during the season, like not star, didn't have to be anybody. Like, who was somebody he matched up against that was just like, holy crap? And he said Steven Adams.
Well, I would say everybody should say that. That should be an evergreen statement.
Well, he's the strongest guy in the league. He goes, I've never played somebody that I couldn't move around. And he goes, no matter what I did, I couldn't move him around. And I could kind of see the wheels spinning in his head of like, I need to get to that level. Like like if you're a big in the NBA, you need to be a guy that cannot be moved.
Well, I mean, steroids Donovan Clingan will be very exciting.
I'm all about it. Let's get him on all of the exchange.
Yeah. All right. Well, good job.
No, you like to see this. It was going to be it felt like it was going to be a close call a couple weeks ago. And I was interested to see how this ended up shaking up, because you could have seen Collier get that spot and maybe bump one of the other bigs out, but they ended up giving it to Clingan and going with 5 bigs. So good for him.
All right.
One little note: the Blazers tweeted out earlier he had the 3rd best rookie rebound percentage and 6th best rookie block percentage in league history.
Yeah. That's what I look for.
Yeah. Led the NBA with 5.9 offensive rebounds per 36 minutes.
Yeah.
See?
Mark Eaton 2.0.
That's what I look for. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Rebounding and block percentage, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, for a center who's 7'2", 7'3", those are kind of key.
No, that's what he hangs his hat on.
That's what I look for. All right, hey, conference finals get underway tonight.
Woo, baby!
And it's the West coming first.
Weird.
Timberwolves Thunder. Who needs this series the most? Not as a team, but as an individual. First is Jeff with SportsCenter.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, indeed, the NBA's Western Conference Finals begin tonight from Oklahoma City. The Thunder hosting the Timberwolves. It's a 5:30 tip on ESPN. We'll have coverage on 910 ESPN Portland beginning at 5 o'clock. The Thunder are 7-point favorites. As we talked about there, Blazers center Donovan Clingan named to the all-rookie second team. He averaged 6.5 points, 7.9 boards, and 1.6 blocks per game while shooting 54% from the field. On the diamond, Mariners have won 4 straight games. Their road trip continues this afternoon on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox. 4:40 first pitch on Root Sports. The Mariners still holding on to a 2.5-game lead over the Astros in the AL West. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting a vote on whether to allow NFL players to participate in flag football at the 2028 LA Olympics is expected to pass. The NFL owners will also vote on a proposal to ban the tush push. And on the ice, game 1 of the East Final tonight in the Stanley Cup playoff. Hurricanes hosting the Panthers. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on TNT and Max. The Hurricanes are -130 on the money line. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's The Fan on FM. Go to 99.5 FM HD2 and enjoy high def 1080 The Fan.
All right, we've got conference finals starting tonight in the West. Timberwolves in OKC for the Thunder.
Just like everybody thought.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
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 After the Luka trade?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is how we all thought this was going to go.
100%.
I actually love that our NBA playoffs is going to have new blood. And I heard you and Luke talking about this when I was on my drive home yesterday about the fact that was 7 straight years of a new champion.
Yep.
A champion. Guys bounce around so much.
Parity era is here.
But I enjoy the fact we are going to get new teams in and that we just don't have a dominant run. If the NBA truly wants to get back to fans being a fan of a team an organization and not just a player, this is the best way to do it. And you're starting to see the organizations that have their stuff together are successful, have a plan, stick to that plan, and see it through. We're seeing that. And that doesn't mean that your roster won't have changes, but an identity is ridiculously important. And I thought for a long time, it went from teams having distinct paths and identities to whichever team was able to lure multiple stars was the one that was going to win. And I like this for NBA.
Yeah, and you really look at these teams, and for the most part, you're seeing some version of homegrown. And yes, SGA is not homegrown because he was traded after his rookie year to OKC, but they've been responsible for his development. And
they sent a star to get one that wasn't yet.
Yes, and it's whether it's Chet as the number 2 overall pick, and yes, they add Isaiah Hartenstein, but Alex Caruso, as much as they brought him in from Chicago, we've all seen the picture circulate 1,000 times of him and Mark Daigneault 9 years ago with the Oklahoma City Blue. Like that, he is a guy that has very deep ties to his basketball growth to the organization.
That's their G League team, by the way.
Finding guys like Lou Dort and Isaiah Joe and Wiggins, and you just got to go down the list. Like their whole roster, for the most part, with a little flair here and there, is homegrown.
Yep.
Then you look at the Timberwolves. Ant Edwards is the number 1 overall pick, and yes, they make some moves where they send out Karl-Anthony Towns, who again was a homegrown guy, to go get Julius Randle, and they throw all that draft capital to go get Rudy Gobert, but you go and develop your own guys.
Well, I'll throw that in there. Dante DiVincenzo, too.
Yeah.
Having a guy like Dante DiVincenzo coming off your bench and being such a big factor, especially when you have 5 billion-year-old Mike Conley, who's just sitting there orchestrating is basically what he does. He's not the player that he once was. But when you go to whether it's Ant Edwards or, Jaden McDaniels, I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, McDaniels had his year last year was really disappointing. It felt like he regressed a little bit after getting his deal. But, that's the old, adage that growth is not linear. He has been very good, but as much as Ant Edwards is responsible for everything, the guy that has been one of the best players in the entire playoffs is Julius freaking Randle.
Yeah, dude. Julius Randle can do it.
He has been incredible. And it's going to be really interesting to watch this matchup with OKC because Minnesota is freaking huge. They are huge. They are just a massive team, whether it's, 7'2" Rudy Gobert, it's, 6'9" truck like Naz Reid, 6'9" absolute truck Julius Randle, 6'10" Jaden McDaniels, 6'5", when they take Conley off the floor and they go DiVincenzo and Ant, they're 6'4", 6'5", like the smallest guy on the floor is 6'4" Dante DiVincenzo, who's tough as nails.
Which Anthony Edwards, I watched the Sports Science on him yesterday. 25 pounds heavier than the average guard in the NBA.
Oh, he's a football player.
Yeah.
He is a linebacker. He's huge.
225 pounds.
Yeah, he's a big dude who is incredibly explosive. But we always talk about these matchups and styles making fights, man. And this lines up really well.
Okay. Oh, this series does? Yeah. Which player is the one that this means the most for, though, in this series? Like, when you think about, like, both of these teams, like, the timeline has been like, OKC's got a window. It is open. I think you're looking at Minnesota. They have a window. It is open. Both of these teams have been through the playoffs, been through their struggles. But you mentioned a guy like Julius Randle. How much does this mean for him? And I think it's more Ant Edwards and finding an identity in the playoffs. But on the flip side, you have guys like Chet Holmgren, who has withered in some spots, but also come up huge. Jalen Williams, which he was incredible against Denver early in that game, finding his identity and just being that dude that disappears at times.
I'm going to go outside the box.
SGA.
I'm going to go outside the box. It's Rudy Gobert.
Goberts.
Shea.
Wearing them Goberts.
Ant, Chet, those guys, they're young. They've got look. You look at Boston. You see what happens to Tatum. You never know what's going to happen. You're never always going to get back. Remember the 2012 Thunder? That everybody thought, oh, this team's going to run the West for years to come, and then poof, gone. But
Portland Trailblazers with Brandon Roy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But with that being said, if the Timberwolves get to the finals, a team that has never been to the finals, and let's say that the unthinkable happens and the Timberwolves win an NBA Finals. Rudy Gobert is unassailable at that point. He's got 4 Defensive Player of the Years. He's got an NBA title. He's, multi-time All-Star and all the crap that, Rudy gets played off the floor. Like, he doesn't ever get played off the floor defensively. He gets played off the floor offensively. And if they go out there and he's able to anchor this team, and that's the thing is, that Denver team that they just beat is not a good defensive team. This Minnesota team is a good defensive team, and it starts and ends with Rudy Gobert. And if he is, because they can single, like, here's the thing about Minnesota. We just talked about how big and physical they are. They can stick Ant Edwards or Jaden McDaniels on SGA and single coverage and live with that.
Yeah.
They can live with that and also keep Rudy Gobert at the rim. Now, how does OKC match that? And if Rudy Gobert can anchor that team and be the guy that, people, say, oh, he's not actually that good of a defender. I've talked to other NBA players like, oh, he's good. He's not that good. I'm just like, you don't alter that many shots, limit that many attempts around the rim, and block that many shots and just shut stuff down and not be good. And it's just like, I get it. People don't like him. That's fine. The dude's good. But if all of a sudden you put that hand up and you got the ring on it, he's stamped.
Yeah. That's a good one.
He's stamped.
He's got to make it through the West first.
I mean, he's got to beat probably the toughest team left. But if he does it, you all of a sudden Rudy Gobert starts popping up in conversations of one of the best interior guys defensively ever.
All right. 503-864-6326. That be the fan text line. All right. I don't know if you guys talked about this yesterday. Did you talk about the debut of the local guy?
No, we didn't get a chance to get to it.
Holy crap.
Yeah, because what a day.
Incredible.
What a day.
Incredible day. Both of us, actually all 3 of us, we can put our hatred of Jesuit High School aside.
I mean, I can't, but...
No, for like 5 minutes.
Okay, I was gonna say, it's a big ask.
For 5 minutes. Because the local guy has got to get a tip of the cap. Danny Dusty on the Fan. All right, we as Metro League guys through and through, you know,
For life.
YouTube Beaverton.
Yep.
I'm a Glencoe alum.
Mm-hmm.
We have our beefs with Jesuit High School.
Yes.
You know,
Well deserved.
well deserved. Well deserved.
A slur that we can no longer use either.
Well, look, the it's all right. It's okay. You'll be working for us someday.
Yep.
Cheers.
Mhm.
They get old really quick.
Mhm.
They get old really quick. You know.
Yep.
And you know, it's not wrong. But
We didn't lose very much when I was in high school, but the couple times we did,
yeah,
it was the Jesuit.
yeah,
And it sucked.
yeah, and they knew it.
Yeah.
But there is a Jesuit alum who is one hell of a. Well, they actually have a couple because
Mhm.
they have two pitchers that are dynamic
Mhm.
and really
Long-rangey
damn good
dudes.
and young. And one is Noble Meyer, who is in the Miami Marlins
Mhm.
organization, who was a draft pick just a couple of years ago, who is a flamethrower.
Got gas.
Yeah, yeah. I watched MLB scouts at the one game I went and watched him pitch. They had all the guns. They went, whoa.
Wasn't he throwing 98 in high school?
No, he touched
Oh,
100.
he did touch 100. Good God.
Yeah, yeah. But he's still working his way up. And over the weekend, another Jesuit alum, Mick Abel, made his Major League Baseball debut. And we talked about this on Friday last week, that he got the call up to the big leagues for the Philadelphia Phillies. And his debut in Major League Baseball was on Sunday opposite Paul Skeens of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
There's two ways to go about this.
Yep.
One, you're going against Paul Skeens, which you're thinking, oh, crap, can I get any run support? It's terrifying. He's the
Mhm.
nastiest pitcher probably in baseball right now. The flip side is, ooh, it's the Pirates lineup.
Yeah. So here's the line. And for a pitcher, it is knowing how good you have to be based on the guy that you're pitching against, right? Because you know that Skeens is going to be dealing, and he went 8 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. Okay? He picked up a loss in that game
That run was the only run scored in the game.
because Mick Abel, in his major league debut, went 6 innings pitched, gave up 5 hits, no runs, no walks, and struck out 9 in his Major League Baseball debut. Threw 84 pitches in his big league debut, and
84 pitches in 6 innings that's money, man.
he was the talk of baseball,
Mhm.
man. He truly was. He was the talk of baseball. On Intentional Talk, they asked Ryan Dempster, what was more impressive, the way that Skeens was pitching in his bag and he was in it,
Mm-hmm.
giving up only 1 run, or the rookie Mick Abel coming up and throwing the way he did. And he said he went into a little thing about how dominant Paul Skeens is, because we have to do this with guys like Paul Skeens and Mike Trout,
Yeah.
right? Because they're on
God-awful teams.
horrible teams.
But they're all-timers.
Yes.
Skeens is already an all-timer. The way his dominance is unreal.
Yeah, and just like give it another 6 months, people are going to really start hating Shohei Ohtani because
Mhm.
he got that. He got that because he was an angel.
Yeah.
Now they're like, okay, come on, guy.
Yeah, I need you to calm down.
Come on there, guy. Even though I love what he's doing.
Oh,
It's
God,
incredible.
it's so much fun.
But after giving Skeens his flowers, he was like, this kid is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, he's been doing this in minors. He's been working his way up. And so Mick Abel, Jesuit High School, Portland's own,
Mhm.
Major League debut, picks up the W. That's awesome.
5 years in the minors, which is not uncommon for pitchers.
Mm-mm.
It
No.
usually takes a couple years to work your way up, unless you're a freak like Strasburg
Or Paul Skeens.
or Paul Skeens. what did he have? Wasn't it 17 starts, something like that?
Yeah, he was fat. Yeah, it
He
was
flew
nuts.
through.
It was nuts. But Mick Abel, good on you.
Yeah.
Tip of the cap.
Love to see it.
Tip of the cap. And he went to Jesuit.
It's been a while since we've had a Oregon baseball product, like true dyed-in-the-wool Oregon baseball product,
Yeah.
be dominant.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I feel like in my old age, I'm softening on Jesuit. My neighbors,
And I'm not.
my neighbors are Jesuit.
Mm.
They go to Jesuit. Their kids do. Well, their kids do.
Yeah.
And I like my neighbors.
Mm.
And I like their kids.
Mm.
What's wrong with me?
For me, Jesuit's like a crossover like Oregon and Notre Dame because it's green and gold.
Oh yeah,
And it's like,
look at
oh,
that.
I hate this
Yeah.
all together.
Dude, it's great.
I have a lot of hate in my heart.
It's true.
Yeah, and it's like I like all their like as I've worked here, like working sidelines. Like I like Ken Potter. I like Gene Potter, the basketball coach. I like Griff, the baseball coach. Like it seemed like they have.
I don't hate the people. I hate
Golly.
the institution.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean they got good people there.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, dang it, but they got athletes.
Yeah. Look, I don't hate
I like
people at
'em.
Oregon. There's a lot of people down there that
Yeah.
I like. I just hate the
Yeah.
institution.
Yeah.
So, Notre Dame, I hate the people.
Whoa. All right. Well, that's a really long way of saying,
Yeah.
dude, Mick Abel, that was awesome.
Yeah, it is.
That was awesome. And there's going to be another big arm coming through in Noble Meyer.
And Noble,
who-
Noble was a first round pick, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Both of them were. Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. And Myers, I think he's, if I remember right, I thought I saw him ranked in like the top 15 of minor league prospects.
I could see that being a thing for him.
Yeah.
I could see that being a thing for. He's a 6'5" flamethrower.
Yeah.
So yeah, good. I like seeing the local guys all come up and
No, it's cool. I mean, who was
Yeah.
who was the last truly local guy? Darwin?
I don't know.
Well, I guess Adley.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
Adley Rutschman would be.
Yeah.
He'd be the one.
Eric on the old YouTube chat here does bring up a good point.
Mm-hmm.
The question should be, what school did he go to before transferring to Jesuit?
Oh, none. I think he just went there.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not an unfair question.
Yeah. Did he live in the state of Washington, though?
it's not.
No.
That one blew my mind when I was in high school. I was like, "You drive from where?
Yeah. You have an hour and a half drive every day?
You from Ridgefield?
Yeah. How does that happen?
I don't make it to school, and I live down the street. How do you do this?
That's the private car service.
All right. Here we go. Let's get to hour number 2, shall we?
Indeed.
Great. Hey, golf clap.
Golf
Mick
clap.
Abel holding it down for the state of Oregon. I love that. I appreciate that.
I will stop at Jesuit.
Hell of a major
No,
league
that's
baseball
awesome,
debut.
man. To go out there and battle against Skeens like that and get the better of him. And again,
Yep.
Skeens was unreal, but go ahead and take a look at the Pirates lineup versus the Phillies lineup, and there's levels of dominance.
Giving up 1 run to the Phillies was pretty damn
He's
good.
pretty damn good. Yeah. Phillies.
That's like a Felix Hernandez day.
Phillies
at the
right now
office for
28
Paul
and
Skeens.
18. Pittsburgh Pirates 15 and 32.
Yikes, dog.
Yeah. And the Pirates are already on a new manager.
Yeah, hey. All right.
So
Good luck to him.
got that going for you.
Which is nice. All right, we got some NFL news notes, nuggies to go, including Chip Kelly making his imprint on Ashton Genty already.
I don't know if I like
Danny and
this.
Dusty on the Fan.
With Ken and Don.
Sports Center update. First on the Fan, the NBA's Western Conference Finals begin tonight from Oklahoma City. The Thunder hosting the Timberwolves. 5:30 tip on ESPN. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland will start at 5 o'clock. The Thunder are 7-point favorites. Blazer center Donovan Clingan named to the all-rookie second team. He averaged 6.5 points, 7.9 boards, and 1.6 blocks per game, all while shooting 54% from the floor. On the diamond, winners of 4 straight games, the Mariners road trip continues this afternoon on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox. 4:40 first pitch on Root Sports. Looks like Seattle starting Casey Legumina opposite Adrian Hauser for Chicago. That is, of course, if they get the game in. Looks like it's a bit drizzly over there in Chicago. The Mariners still with a 2.5-game lead over the Astros in the AL West. Game 1 of the East Final tonight in the Stanley Cup playoff. The Hurricanes hosting the Panthers. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on TNT and Max. The Hurricanes are minus 130 on the money line. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back. The 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club happens Tuesday, June 24th. Presented by your local Toyota dealers. Reserve your foursome now at 1080thefan.com. Danny Meringue.
And then I went to this movie theater, and then I made a noise like this.
Dusty Hera.
Then this was horrible. All the people started getting sick and throwing up all over each other.
I'm beginning to like this kid much.
This is Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and Portland's sports leader, 1080. The Fan.
Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours on 1080 AM, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app, twitch.tv/1080am The Fan, or youtube.com/1080am The Fan. Party on party people on the YouTube stream. This is very sad news because this was like the first television character that I like really identified with as a kid. George Wendt has passed away at the age of 76 years old. Norm from Cheers.
Yeah, this one hurts.
This one does hurt. This is one of the first times that I saw my dad cry was the end of Cheers. When Sam Malone flips the sign and walks out.
Well, that's got to be a little bit deeper for your dad.
Yeah, it was.
It's a TV show about a bar.
Yeah, and it was like that was him, you know? And Norm was like so many people I know that I grew up around. There was an old guy named Ralph that my dad just gave keys to the bar to, and Ralph would let himself in, tidy some things up, pour himself a beer, and just sit there. He didn't work there. He didn't get paid there. He was like Norm. He had keys to the place, keys to the shop. And was just able to come in. Everybody knew who he was. He had his own spot, and he just sat there every day at the Old Helvetia Tavern. And it was like Norm Peterson was one of the best television characters of our time.
He was never.
Good evening, everybody. What's shaking, Mr. Peterson? What isn't?
I mean, it's great writing, but he was just perfect for that character.
Yeah, he was. He was. And he was also a super fan. The Bears. Yeah.
Also, doing research, he's Jason Sudeikis' uncle.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
His sister is Jason Sudeikis' mom. And I was like, wait, what?
Some comedy chops in that family.
Good God.
Yeah. That's a family right there.
Yeah, right? We talk about nepotism in sports. How about in television? Good Lord.
Well, I mean,
look,
when the talent's there.
It's earned.
There.
It's earned. Look, this is an Iron Eagle, Noah Eagle situation.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like the talent is there for sure.
That's right.
But yeah, no, I mean that one sucks. It's so weird, thinking back, basically 40 years to that show. He was 76 years old. I identified with him because everybody just looked older.
Yeah, they all look old.
Like when you were in your 30s, you looked like you were in your 50s.
Go back and look at an old high school yearbook from the 80s. You're like, damn, what are all these middle-aged men doing in high school?
Somebody did that with.
He's got mustaches.
Somebody did that with Penn State in like 1982, and it looks like 35-year-old men.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, what? Like, these guys are 19, 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
And, like, they just looked so old.
They got, like, mustaches and chest hair, and you're just going, what?
And they just, like,
what the hell?
They looked like they'd seen some S.
Yeah, because they had.
It was just like, brother, you have been aged a turn. Like, again, you think of Norm, like, being in his, like, 40s or 50s, and in that show, he's, like, 32.
It's crazy.
You know what I mean? It's just so weird.
Some tough living, buddy.
Yeah.
Some tough living.
Like, Cliff Clavin was gray-haired in that. And
That's right.
still out there kicking with the same gray hair.
And doing Toy Story movies. Yeah.
So weird.
All of it.
Toy Story 5 announced, by the way.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Really? All right.
That's got to be about as far apart.
And actually, I think it's not just the Toy Story that he's limited to. He at least has, like, a line in pretty much every Pixar movie.
I mean, he's got a great voice. But, like, what's longer running now? Toy Story or Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise? It's got to be close, right?
No.
Ooh, Toy Story was 1995.
Because I think Mission Impossible's right there.
Mm-hmm.
I say that because the new Mission Impossible just came out.
Yes.
Let's see here. Oh boy. Mission Impossible film series. Tom Cruise. 1996.
Ooh, so Toy Story's a year older.
Well, we don't know.
I think it was 95. It was either 95 or 96.
Okay.
1995.
Okay.
So Toy Story by a year.
Those have got to be the longest running movie series of all time, not counting James Bond, because you've obviously gone
James
through.
Bond is.
But I mean, with like
on its
the
own.
same central characters and
Right.
voices.
First James Bond was 62.
62 or 64, I can never remember.
Yeah.
With Connery.
Was
Yeah.
it Dr. No?
Well, Tom Cruise still doing his own stunts.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're talking about all those dudes who look old. Well, then there's Tom Cruise who's 62 years old, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
What in the Scientology's happening here?
Still looks just about like he did in all the right moves.
That's right.
It's crazy though. The
Golly.
super cut for the build up for the new Mission Impossible, they showed Mission Impossible 1, and you're like, oh, that's right. You were like 29. You know what I mean?
Yeah, little tiny baby Tom
I'm
Cruise.
like, yes, he looks the same because we've grown up with him, but he looked so much younger back then.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, okay.
All right. R.I.P. George Wendt, 76 years old.
Yeah, that one sucks.
That one does suck.
That one sucks.
That one's bad.
Like if you don't like Norm, that's like one of those things that says something more about you than it does about him.
Yeah, that's a character flaw in
Yeah.
you.
Like even if you're like, Cheers wasn't my show, but you know what, Norm was my jam.
Yeah, you're damn right.
You know what I mean? Like you just can't not like Norm.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you like Chip Kelly? Because he is your offensive coordinator at the Las Vegas Raiders.
He's tinkering with my weirdness right now, and I don't know if I like it.
Well, Ashton Genty, the star Boise State running back, the little mighty mite back there, who's just a ball of muscle.
Little muscle hamster.
He went on the Kay Adams show, Up and Adams, with Kay Adams at the rookie symposium that they do where they all dress in their uniforms and go take pictures and then get taught how to be professionals.
And she was almost as tall as him.
She is.
She's tiny.
Well, she
one.
wears big heels,
Yeah,
too.
but she's tiny.
Yeah. I like Kay Adams.
I do, too.
He went on Up and Adams with Kay Adams, and Ashton Genty is saying the trend is coming to an end.
You know, sometimes you gotta, go with the flow. What's crazy is, man, Chip Kelly, he comes to me the first day of rookie minicamp. He like, you play basketball? Like, you ever play basketball? I'm like, yeah, I played basketball. Like, I could dunk, all that. He's like, okay. He was like, show me how you would guard me. Like, and he acting like he holding the ball.
Let's do this, get up.
He like, show me how you would guard me. He holding the ball. Like, act like you holding the ball.
Okay, got it, yeah.
Then I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Like, I'm, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he was
Defensive
like,
stance.
that's
Defensive
exactly
stance.
why you got to be down in your running back stance.
No, you were so convicted.
I was,
And
but
then he won?
uh,
Just like that? That's all it took?
he won for now. I'm gonna try to persuade him one day. I gotta earn my stripes, make some plays first, but I don't think it's gonna be the end.
The Michael Myers stance that Ashton Genty started, and now you see at every level of football, including the National Football League guys started doing it, where he stands upright and just has his hands to his side.
Not giving anything away.
Like he's going to murder somebody. That is going away because Chip Kelly wants him in an athletic stance.
I don't like it.
Bum, bum, bum.
Ooh, more yards after contact, Ashton Genty or Michael Myers?
Ooh, I will say through 7 Halloween movies,
Is that all?
Speaking of longest running movies.
I think it's Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
Dude was the nation's second leading rusher after contact.
Yeah.
If you just take all of the yards before contact out.
It's bananas.
He was number 2. He's incredible. And I honestly thought that there was an element of Ashton Genty. He really is so short. And I said this after Oregon played Boise State. I said, I think he stands like that because if he squats down like a normal running back, even like that 3 inches that your head is lowered, I don't think he can see.
No.
Because he is...
You said you were taller than him with his helmet on.
He had his helmet on,
Yeah.
and I was taller than him. He's like 5'7", 5'8". Like, he is a very short man. Again, I do not believe that he can gain any more muscle mass.
Because his muscles had muscles.
His skin is going to pop.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like he was about to pop out of his own skin. It was incredible.
It's a very Maurice Jones-Drew build. He's
yeah.
built like a truck, but my man ain't tall. I will say, though, it was the first time seeing in the pads wearing the number 2. Oh, boy, it looked good.
It looks good.
It looks
good. But he's not going to have the Michael Myers murder stance.
Well, he didn't say it's completely gone.
Yeah.
He basically said he dropped a little line. I think I got to earn it. I got to show I can do it.
Yeah. I mean, everything is quicker once you get to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Chip Kelly's watching film and saying, if you get there a fraction of a second faster, maybe you don't get hit behind the line of scrimmage. Maybe you don't have all those yards after contact. I don't know about that. But if they're in the gun and he has to, in the zone read, take his J step and get to where he needs to be, that's probably more it in Chip Kelly's mind. But at the same time, as the ball is getting snapped, you can still get to that point.
Yeah.
Like it's I'm not quite sure why Chip Kelly is so hell-bent on it.
I feel like this is a battle, not a war. I think this is a battle
Yeah.
that Genty might be able to win, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how Chip feels like in the third quarter when Genty has 150 yards and he goes to the Michael Myers stance. And
Just kind of just shoots a look up to the box like.
And then pops off like a 20-yard run. He's like, all right, maybe you can do it.
Yeah.
I
think Chip's a guy that could relent.
Seeing as he's not the head coach.
Yeah. But even then.
I can see that now.
I could see him.
Not as a head coach.
Yeah.
Chip
No.
did not relent.
No.
At all.
But also, Pete's all vibes. And if Pete's sitting there going, you know what? My man thrives on vibes. We're going to let him do it.
I'm going to tell you what. If Ashton Genty does not pop early in his career as a Las Vegas Raider,
it ain't going to happen.
That will be the end of it'll just be like Chip broke him. He ruined him. We can't go back to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
All right.
That's what I'm scared of.
Well, you should be scared of it. I mean, pay no attention that it's the Raiders.
Yeah.
Look,
we're back, baby. We're back.
Yeah.
We're back.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Raiders.
Yeah, we're back.
Really tough division. Really tough division, that AFC West is.
Ooh, fan text line. The Raiders need to play the Michael Myers music after short yardage conversions.
Ooh,
yeah, they do.
Only if he stands like that, though.
Yeah.
And that would look awesome.
Oh, God, yeah.
The black uniforms would be sick.
I mean, I have a reeling suspicion that Michael Myers masks will be very prevalent in the black hole this year.
Fan text line. 13 Halloween movies.
Good God.
Swanson,
Yeah, I thought that sounded a bit light.
Way off. 7. Sorry, I went with 7.
How could you forget H2O?
I didn't see it. I don't know what that was.
That was one with Hartnett, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen the new.
He's a mermaid?
I haven't seen the newest one. Apparently, the newest one was pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, so.
Can't believe I missed it.
Yeah, speaking dragging old actors out. What's her name?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Thank you. Could not think of her name for a second.
Daughter of only, like 2 of the most famous actors of their era.
Who?
Tommy Lee and Jane Curtis.
No, I had to.
I don't know. I don't know who it was either.
Tony Curtis.
Tony Curtis.
Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh, like, probably the most famous scene in cinematic history, the shower scene in Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It's Jamie Lee Curtis's parents.
I knew the Tony Curtis one. I did not know the Janet Leigh. Now her name makes more sense. The whole Lee Curtis thing. Can't slip that one by me, bud.
Nothing gets past you.
All right. Also submissions, because you asked this, longest running movies Halloween one.
Mhm.
Yep, you mentioned that. But we also have textures saying Star Wars. That's a big one.
79?
77. 77 through, I don't know,
Whatever.
yesterday.
Yeah.
I
Hamill's still making appearances in them too, so that's the thing. It's one thing to have a series going. You got to have like the same kind of recurring cast.
What, that first Halloween I want to say was 79.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's around that time.
All right. Well, there we go. Let's get to more NFL newsies nuggies because the owners are going to change all these rules. They're going to do it. But one of them I appreciate.
Hey.
And I'm here for it. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. The NFL owners have gotten wise to their ways, unanimously passing a motion at the owners' meetings to allow their players to play in the Olympics in 2028. There was some speculation that the 2028 Olympics that are coming to LA would not include NFL football players in the flag football portion. Now, we saw this in the Paris Games. Remember breakdancing? That was in the Olympics this year.
Which Australia made a joke of it.
They really did. But you know what? Awareness of breakdancing was grown. Like we all were like, wait, first of all, there's competitive breakdancing. This is the thing. Second, what in the world did Australia send?
Yeah, somebody who got a hold of the vetting process and did it for themselves.
Yikes, dog. But the LA Olympics, they are going to add flag football. And now they needed 24 of 32. They got all 32 to vote yes, because I don't think anybody wants to see, NFL owners standing in the way of Olympic gold medals for their athletes. We're going to see NFL players in the Olympics now.
Yeah. And
that's really cool.
And we're going to send a freaking dream team. And if we don't win this, it will be an embarrassment.
Yeah.
Literally our sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we before we came out of the break, we were discussing who would we send. And a quarterback wide receiver trio of Burrow, Jefferson, Chase.
Well, yeah, because
pretty damn good.
The thing about like Joe Burrow, and I know they're gonna be like, what about Mahomes? He fits that game. He really doesn't, because you got to get the ball out. So, and like a lot of what Mahomes does, he'll get the ball out quick. Don't get me wrong. Love Patrick Mahomes. He gets the ball out quick, but he's at his best off platform when things are going on.
Yeah.
Burrow would be a flag football god. Accurate, can still get the big arm throws. And this is basically, you're sending your best receivers and your best defensive backs. That's what wins. Like, you don't need linemen, obviously, but linebackers, you don't need big bodies. You need speed and guys who are uber coordinated to create mismatches. That's what's going to win flag football.
Remember, we had that 5'9" dude who said he's better than Patrick Mahomes, who's the flag football quarterback, and then we saw him throw, and we went, "What the hell is that?"
No,
it looked like it was like if an alien had watched football and tried to replicate it.
Yeah.
We're not sending that. It's funny because the U.S. Flag Football Federation is out here like, well, we're going to wait and see what the NFL does, and we'll welcome the NFL athletes. Like, no, dog, every single one of you is being taken off that roster.
So they do have to participate in tryouts for it. And in the NFL, not standing in the way of this, because this can grow the game globally.
We're going to send the dream team.
Teams are sending players from across the country. And here's the thing. If USA flag football wants to hold the NFL players out of the Olympics, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go and play for other countries because you can do it.
Yeah.
You'll have the ability to be
like... It's not exactly hard to trace a family lineage back to some other country, 2 generations.
No.
It's not really that difficult.
No.
And if you take a look at
every single Olympics.
Well, hell, if you take a look at the NFL right now, the NFL has become significantly more international. You look at what they've done to grow the game in Europe and Africa.
All right. Here is the problem, though. Here's the criteria. Okay. They will get any player under an NFL contract can participate in the tryouts. A limit of 1 player per NFL team on each national team participating. So Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow cannot go and play for Team USA.
Okay, what if I said because again, we're 3 years out. What if I said Jaden Daniels?
What if I said Arch Manning?
USA, USA, USA.
And by the way, the Mannings would
be
make sure
hard for that.
Well, did you see Peyton Manning on the Olympic coverage this year? Allowing, in addition, a team's designated international player to play for his home country. So that is one of the stipulations here. If you have a designated international player, and by the way, you can find that out. You'll see on the back of NFL helmets, they don't just have the American flag. They'll have another flag on there too. So I don't know what players would qualify as that, but say Joe Burrow wants to go and play for Team USA and Jamar Chase has lineage to another team, he can go play for another team from another nation. Okay. A purchase of league-wide insurance policies to provide injury protection for any player injured while participating in an authorized flag football activity related to the Olympics.
That's, of course, the terrifying thing here. But at the same time, you talk about Team USA in basketball. We haven't had it happen.
Well, that's not true. What's his butt? Former Pacer went into the stanchion.
Oh, that's true. It was
in Vegas.
It was Granger. Yeah,
Danny Granger. Danny Granger.
Oh no, it was Paul George.
Was that Paul George?
Yeah,
Paul. I wanted to say Paul George, but I thought
I should say in the actual competition because that was a scrimmage.
But but for Team USA though, and that's what they're talking about right here. A salary cap credit for any player who is injured in the Olympics.
That had to be huge because if you have to have some sort of protection if you're going to let those guys go.
An expectation that Olympic flag football teams will establish medical staffs and field surfaces that comply with NFL minimum standards. Well,
they're not going to have these guys playing on crap fields.
Well, I think they're playing in SoFi Stadium.
Yeah.
I think that's correct. I think they're going to be in SoFi. A schedule that does not unreasonably conflict with the NFL players' league and club commitments. That is not going to happen.
Well, the Olympics run from what? Is it beginning of July?
July 14th to July 30th.
That's doable. I mean, that's just getting into OTAs.
Yeah.
That's doable.
At worst, the flag football participants would miss the start of training camp.
Yeah, and you're not talking about everybody.
Yeah. Boy, now that I know these parameters that we have here, this has got me thinking. Because I think Jamar Chase has got to be there, so I'm going to throw Burrow out.
Okay. Like I said, Jaden Daniels isn't a bad one.
He's not a bad one.
Quick release, absolute cannon for an arm, mobile.
You got Mahomes.
You also remember that we're 3 years out.
Yeah. Oh, Justin Herbert.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh Allen. I'd like to see Lamar Jackson line up in the backfield next to Patrick Mahomes. Put him at running back, and then you can
some flea flickers,
little flare screen, and then Lamar Jackson either runs right by you or just bombs it down the field. I'm in for this.
The 2 quarterback system.
Yeah, I'm in.
You have somebody out there who says, "See, Lamar Jackson should have been a running back."
Yeah, no, I'm in for it. You can get weird in flag football. I'm here for this. Way to go, NFL! You didn't screw this up. You didn't screw it up. I guess that's a feather in your cap. Also, they are voting on the playoff reformat. Did we, Russ, do we have an update on that? Have you seen the update on that, Mr. Update Man, going to the sports desk?
On the, I'm sorry.
The NFL playoffs?
No, I've not seen an update on that.
Okay. So what they are going to vote on, proposed by the Detroit Lions, is to change the format of the playoffs where it's straight seeding.
Yeah, because they play in the NFC North, and they're sitting here like, no, we're not going to run through this freaking gauntlet and have one game decide whether or not we're a 1 seed or a 7 seed because we play in a difficult division. Meanwhile, some 7 and 9 BS is out here making the playoffs because their division sucks.
Yeah. Well, if you want to know what that would have looked like last year, I'm glad that they are not gonna likely do the worst thing, which is there was talk of like, okay, well,
no conferences.
Well, no, once you play the wild card weekend. Then it goes to reseeding everything else because that doesn't give the number 1 seed the advantage.
No.
Because there's only one team that gets a bye, and that team has an inherent advantage when you can prepare for one of 2 teams as opposed to all of them. So they want to go just straight seeding. And last year, if you remember correctly, the Lions were the 1 seed in the NFC. Okay? They ended up having to play the winner of the Minnesota Vikings versus the Los Angeles Rams game. Okay. That is not ideal for them because they're sitting there going, that was a 14-win team.
Yeah.
And so last year, the seeding was Detroit had the 1 seed, Philly the 2, Tampa the 3 because they won the division. And then the Rams were the 4 seed hosting a playoff game as the 4 seed with Minnesota, Washington, and Green Bay as the wild card teams.
Which is insane.
It is insane when you take into account the fact that the team with the second best record in the NFL was the 5 seed, in the NFC was the 5 seed, the Minnesota Vikings.
A 14-win team at a 5 seed.
And
very dumb.
The 12-win Washington Commanders, they were sitting there as the 7 seed with 12 wins.
But it's very similar to what we see in the NBA, where in the Western Conference, the 7 seed, this play-in team that has 50 wins. Meanwhile, the 7 seed in the Eastern Conference maybe has 40.
Yeah. So
and you're like, what the hell is this?
Most of the time, though, these things actually kind of work themselves out, because do you know the only change that would have happened in the AFC last year? All you would have done was flip-flopped the Chargers and the Houston Texans.
It just keeps the dregs from getting benefits they shouldn't get.
The Chargers would have been the 4 seed, and the Texans would have been the 5 seed, with Pittsburgh at 6 and Denver at 7.
Yeah,
that's the only change that would have happened.
You shouldn't get a bonus for winning your division that sucks.
I do agree with that.
If your record is your record, but if you're just playing crap, and you're able to skimp by on it,
They're also voting on the tush push. Will the tush push survive?
Which they've already kind of changed the wording of. You see that? The Packers reworded how they're talking about it. I'm sure they had their lawyers scrape through it.
Well, no, because the first time when they first did this, they went down the road of, all right, well, how can we win a couple more guys over? And it was, all right, well, it's pushing and pulling any player at any point on the field. And they're like, all right, that's going to change a lot of things with how many near first downs become first downs, because the offensive line just comes and barrels over the guy and pushes him forward. There you go.
So
that's it.
There's your fix.
All right. 503-864-6326. That's your fan text line.
It's a good place to be. All right, coming up next, those worst down the web. You know those warning labels you have on your food, like caution hot? Well, now we have a new one. Maybe caution onions.
Oh, no.
People are dumb. We'll get to that next. But first, here's the Big Kahuna Sports Center Update.
You mind if I have some of your tasty beverage to wash this down?
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, the NBA's Western Conference Finals begin tonight in Oklahoma City. The Thunder hosting the Timberwolves, 5:30 tip on ESPN. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland will start at 5 o'clock. The Thunder are 7-point favorites. Blazers center Donovan Clingan named to the all-rookie second team. Clingan averaged 6.5 points, 7.9 rebounds, and 1.6 blocks per game, all while shooting 54% from the field. On the diamond, the Mariners have won their last 4 games. The road trip continues this afternoon on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox. 4:40 first pitch on Root Sports. Looking like Seattle will start Casey Legumina opposite Adrian Hauser for Chicago. The Mariners with a 2.5-game lead over the Astros in the AL West. Multiple reports say the owners have unanimously passed the proposal to allow NFL players to participate in flag football at the 2028 LA Olympics. Owners also will vote on a proposal to ban the tush push. And on the ice, Game 1 of the East Final tonight in the Stanley Cup playoff. Hurricanes hosting the Panthers. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on TNT and Max. The Hurricanes are -130 on the money line. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
More, please. Golf in the Northwest with Jason Swigart is back. Saturdays at 8 a.m. before the Sinner and the Saint on Portland's Sports Leader, 1080 The Fan. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
That sucks.
In the latest edition of People Are Dumb, burger chain Whataburger is being sued for not holding the onions.
All right. Tell me more about this.
A $1 million personal damages lawsuit has been brought against Whataburger, the glorious burger chain.
Yes.
Have you had Whataburger?
I have had Whataburger.
Rusty, have you had Whataburger?
I have not.
Down in Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas.
Never been to Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good burger.
Yeah, it is a good fast food burger. It's a good fast food burger.
Look, it's a nice little Texas staple. But a man requested no onions on his burger and got onions. And in the lawsuit, it accuses Whataburger of failing to act in accordance with appropriate standard of care, which caused him to suffer personal injuries.
What do you do? What were those injuries?
He does not elaborate.
Oh, he doesn't?
No.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
So, if I have a burger with pickles on it, we've talked about this. Pickles make me vomit. I eat pickles, it comes right back up. Can't fix it. Don't know why. Well, I do know why. Rookie show. But I had to eat an entire jar of pickles and drink the juice in under 2 minutes. It came right back up. And I haven't been able to eat pickles since. Literally, I will throw up whatever I just ate with pickles. Can't do it. So if they put pickles on my burger, is that pain and suffering that I can sue for $1 million for?
So what he said is he called the meal a manufacturing defect that was unsafe to eat. The manufacturing defect was the inclusion of onions. He is asking for monetary relief of over $250,000, but less than $1 million in penalties and costs.
Okay.
This is also not the first time this person has sued over onions.
Oh, really?
He sued, Sonic for serving onions in a meal he purchased in Houston in April of 2023. He said the onions made him feel sick and left him with serious personal injuries that made him seek out medical care.
Oh. This guy really hates onions.
I don't know, man. Like, if you've got some sort of allergy or stomach dysfunction about it, you know what you should do real quick?
Open it up and check.
I have a family member that is deathly allergic to macadamia nuts. And when I say deathly, the only reason we found out is they had one when they were a kid, and had we not luckily had an EpiPen in the car, they would have died.
Bam! Yeah, that's scary stuff, dude.
Throat swelled up, almost closed instantly.
When that stuff happens, that's terrifying.
Yeah, we had no idea what the hell was going on, but we just happened to have an EpiPen in the emergency kit because, you know, when you get stings and things of that nature, it's one of the things you can do, and that saved him.
When you have a little rascal like a Danny Meringue in there, you need to have
might get into some things.
Your guys' emergency kit had everything.
Total squirrel moment. One time on a road trip, driving down through the countryside, so I can't even remember where we were, but a yellow jacket flew through the window and hit me in the neck, stinger first.
Oh, all right.
So like it
butt first through the window, huh?
And it came in with some heat through the window. Like we weren't like, you know, when you get hit, like if you were like, you know, a bit on the water on a boat, no windshield, you kind of get hit by it stings. I thought it was just that, and then all of a sudden, like my throat started to swell up because it hit me right on the throat. And that's when I learned that chewing tobacco is useful to draw the venom out of a sting. Yeah.
Was it your chewing tobacco?
No, I was
like would you just pack a lipper at little 8-year-old Danny, just like, shove this in here?
No, my uncle, he's like, here, just put this
Somebody
on.
Somebody give me the Copenhagen.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I've always wondered, like, who was the first person to pee on their jellyfish sting?
Doesn't work.
It does. It does.
The science says it doesn't.
Oh,
it can make it worse.
It did not make it worse. It did not make it worse. It didn't stop it. It did not stop it.
I'm sure that where that originated from, there's probably somebody out there who had a kink.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, maybe.
You know.
Maybe. But like,
you want to get real gross?
You got peeing on the feet for a jellyfish sting. Rubbing chewing tobacco on your bee sting. Like, who's doing this?
The naturopaths. Have you heard about
the naturopathy? All it takes is a little fiberglass and tobacco in there, and it'll just suck
Pull it
right
right
out.
Who knew? Have you heard the latest nasty craze?
No.
People drinking their own pee.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's like becoming like a real thing. And
but
like,
don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't
I mean, it's
do
gross.
it.
And like the people that are like proponents of it are out there saying you need to make sure you do it in the morning because that's the one that has like your body is processed the most and has the most value out of it. I'm like,
no, don't. Just don't.
It's usually when it's at its most colorful too.
Yeah,
I feel like.
I'm like,
it's going to be pungent.
Who was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Like, again, we talk about cults and how these things happen. It's like, no, man, that's the stuff that's already processed through you.
Yeah, but it's sterile. That's just dumb. Weirdest.
It's sterile, and I like the taste. Old Patches O'Houlihan.
Okay. Here, want 19 bizarre home cures that work?
Give it to me.
I wonder how many pop-up ads I'll see here. Probably a billion.
Click through for more.
Oh, how about this? Vodka for foot odor. Again.
So you could go from stinky feet to smelling like a
No
ball.
wonder my feet smell so,
I'll tell you what.
So floral.
I'll tell you what. I know. Okay, I'm going to guess how this one came to be. Somebody got drunk and spilled their fifth, and then they woke up in the morning and were like, well, my feet don't stink. My pants are wet, but my feet don't stink. All right?
I don't think that was the vodka on the pants.
No, it wasn't. A pencil for headaches. If you're stressed, anxious, or you subconsciously clench your jaw or teeth, it strains the muscle that connects your jaw to your temples and triggers a headache. Put a pencil between your teeth, but don't bite it. Okay.
Interesting.
Yogurt for bad breath. That one actually makes sense.
That's the probacteria, right?
Yep, probiotics there. Yep. Listerine for blisters. Oh, that would hurt.
That does not sound good. I was doing some meal prep last night. You know what the best way to find out if you have cuts on your hands?
Jalapenos?
Lemons?
Lime juice.
Yeah.
Lime juice. Found out I had a couple
I think
cuts
we got
on
an all of the above there.
Yeah, just lime juice and
blood
squeezing into the old NutriBullet blender for a marinade, and I was like, how do I have so many cuts on my thumb right now?
Yeah, and then make sure you rub your eyes real good after you've been handling the jalapenos.
I've got a stupid tobacco story. Speaking of chewing tobacco, it's the one reason why not one of the one reason why, but I chewed for 20 plus years. And one time I had my contact fall out on my left eye, and I had just put a dip in.
Yeah,
and I didn't
that's not smart.
think about it. And I just grab it and put it back in, put my contact back in, basically loaded my eye with fiberglass. I have never felt a burn sensation in my eyeball for a longer or more fierce pain in my life. And I was like, oh, don't ever do that again, dummy.
All right. Hey, I got this for you here.
So chewing tobacco, not good for your eye.
Sugar cures the hiccups.
Nothing cures hiccups.
Actually, yeah, my wife had the hiccups over the weekend, and a buddy was like, put a spoon sideways between her teeth and drink like a small glass of water. I don't know what it did, but it worked.
Some mental placebo
But
thing.
what this says is that, and this is actually true, that sugar tells your esophagus and your diaphragm to open up. And so when you get the hiccups, it's spasms.
Nobody knows what actually causes it still. Do you know that?
Yeah, no, I don't know what causes it either.
We can travel to space.
Yeah.
And take photos on other planets, but we don't know why we get the hiccups.
Yeah.
That's right. All the sense in the world.
Well, I think it does.
It's all very dumb.
Lemons for motion sickness. Who's doing that?
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And then here's a good one. Holster this one. You remember when you have when you eat pizza and it burns your mouth? You hate that? Ice cream. They're saying ice cream cures it. I don't know if I believe that or not, but I'm going to try it.
It's not going to replace that torn off skin.
Yeah, whatever. Don't worry about that.
It's fun.
It's fine. It's fine.
Any other little gems in here?
I'm looking at it. Cloves for cuts. Sprinkle powdered cloves on a cut to keep it from becoming infected.
I've heard of that before.
Or do you just light the clove cigarette and use the
Yeah.
burning ember?
Yeah, it'll cauterize the wound and keep the bacteria out. Don't do that. That's not good.
I remember. Of course, I was 18 years old.
Oh, duct tape warts. It's better than freezing them off.
Hmm.
I have no
There you
idea.
go. That's weird.
2 months.
I smoked a clove cigarette for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and I inhaled.
Mm-hmm.
I did inhale. My God, what a terrible feeling that is.
Oh, I had one night in college. I smoked a pack of clove cigarettes.
Oh God.
And never had one again after that.
I remember the old urban myth, that crackling sound is gunpowder that you hear in the cloves popping. And it's like, no, it's not gunpowder, you idiot. I had a buddy of mine tell me that in high school. It's like, oh, that crackling, why it burns your lungs? It's gunpowder. I'm like, no, it's a clove, you dummy. It's the clove burning.
Yeah. All right.
But that's why we're dumb in high school.
Egg whites for burns. Yeah, that and baking soda, make a little baking soda paste on there.
Or just go to the emergency room if you're burned.
All right. Or sue Whataburger for onions on your burger.
Yeah.
That's what you can do.
Or maybe just don't go there because the food is prepared around and near onions.
Yeah, that guy. If keep me posted on it as if he wins that lawsuit.
Well,
or not.
the one against Sonic was thrown out, so I'm gonna imagine this one will probably use the same defense, and it will be thrown out.
Okay.
Because you're a dummy who didn't check your burger.
Yeah, that's right.
Self-responsibility matters. What are we doing here? All right, coming up next, we have we have some new news. Not new news, a new mock draft. We'll kind of kick through these as they start to change as it pertains to the Portland Trailblazers. A new name is on the list for the one of the top mock drafts out there for the Portland Trailblazers. We'll get that next here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Following all the measurements, comings and goings of the NBA Combine in Chicago last week, the latest mock draft from ESPN from Gavoni and Wu have the Portland Trailblazers taking Yegor Demon, the wing guard from BYU.
BYU. Wow.
Yegor is one of the biggest risers of the Combine in that his measurements came out even better than expected. He was essentially 6'9" barefoot. He's a big guard.
I like that.
That is a big, big guard. He, to me, and I think to most evaluators, is the best passer in this draft. Only shot 27% from three at BYU and struggled to finish around the rim, which you kind of wonder, like, dude, you're that big. You got to figure that out. But the interview process this week in Chicago, everybody I've talked to has said he was spectacular. Not only from the character side of it, but the IQ, the feel, all the things that you kind of associate with him. And then in his pro day, which if you think NFL pro days are scripted, NBA pro days are, it's Hollywood blockbuster stuff. It's nothing but scripts, baby. But guys that have really shown and popped off in these in the past, like Scotty Barnes, have done themselves some real good in these processes. And Yegor did show that he has changed his shooting form. He's tightened it up. There's a lot, and that's the thing. There's a lot of guys in college, man. Their shooting mechanics, most of them, I would say, have a pretty decent fundamental base. But there's so much extraneous stuff that goes on because you have more time to get your shot off, which, again, kind of going back to we opened the show, the golf swing. When you have all these other things that are going on, it leads to a lot of error. When I watched Yegor shoot, I was like, it doesn't look broken.
Now, he was a guy, though, that he came into BYU with a lot of hype around him.
And he beat the crap out of everybody in non-conference.
And then the struggles started and settling in. That'll happen. Playing in the Big 12, very good basketball conference. But there was a bit of, I don't know if it would be apprehension or hope, depending on what side you're on. There was a lot of rumblings, though, that he may go back to BYU for another year. And we know that BYU has got an unbelievable amount of NIL available for them. There's the idea that with AJ Debonsa, did you see his post? He went to LDS church for the first time over the weekend?
No.
Yeah. No. There were pictures of him out in front of the LDS church.
Really buying in.
Yeah. But you have the fact that he would be playing alongside another elite NBA talent. And there was like this, whether it's hope on the BYU side or maybe the nitpicking on the NBA side, that he might return to BYU for another year. And so that was maybe holding back a few of his projections. But at 11, what are the things that the Blazers have signaled to everybody that they covet? Size, length, versatility.
Yeah. And again, the playmaking part of this is something that the Blazers drastically, desperately need. They need more creation. They need more playmaking. They need more feel. They need more IQ. And Lord knows they love size. And
by the way, he's already played a year of professional basketball. He played for Real Madrid prior to going to BYU.
There are certainly things about him that make me think he's maybe bigger Josh Giddey, which, to be honest, is a good player. It's a lot easier to hide a 6'9" guard than it is to hide a 6-foot guard, which is what I've seen some Blazers fans out there like, oh, I really like Jace Richardson. I do not. I do not like Jace Richardson. He is 6 foot tall. His measurements did not do him any.
Literally
help.
6 feet tall.
Yeah, and I have nothing against him. If the obstacles you have to overcome at 6 foot, you better be Chris Paul.
Yeah.
It's just like Darius Garland is 6'2", but he also is one of the best ball handlers, creators in the league, and he has deficiencies he has to overcome. But he's also a credible shooter with an unbelievable touch and floater, while being an organizer and probably one of the 10 fastest guys in the league. There's so many things that you have to tick in order to overcome that.
Yeah, and it ain't gonna happen.
Well,
right away.
Yeah, and Jace, like Davion Mitchell, off night, one of the best nicknames in sports. If he's 6'5", he's a hell of a player, but he's 6 foot tall. And so you limit yourself to who you can guard and how effective you can be. And when you don't have the ability to be an offensive engine, all of a sudden, now your lineup functionality is very limited. And you can say, well, what about Peyton Pritchard? It's like, well, the reason Peyton Pritchard works is he's insulated, number one, by an enormous team that is very good, and he's asked to do three things: shoot, dribble, get into space. You limit what he does to what he does very well, but they're able to do that because they've got a 6'7" wing, a 6'10" wing, a 7'3" big, a 6'10" big, and two of the best perimeter defenders in basketball. Mm-hmm. Those luxuries aren't afforded to everybody else, and you can't be like, well, if this guy gets into a situation where he's on a title team, maybe he can play.
Well, and he's elite at the shooting part.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, he's elite, but he's elite. Elite
yes.
is better than just being really good or great at those things.
And when you're 6'9", as Yegor Demin is, it's a lot easier to kind of figure some stuff out. Yes, he needs to figure out the shooting. Yes, he needs to figure out the finishing. Like, you need to be a lot better at those things. But when you have the physical tools to be able to be better at those things that give you much more wiggle room, defensively, he's not good. And I started watching tape on him on Sunday, doing my deep dive on him. I've got him because I kind of have a general idea of the guys that are going to be available at 11. I'm the write-up I've got is basically between him and Kasparas Giakoušionis. I lean towards Kasparas because he's more my type of player. He's a bit more physical, a bit more downhill. I like his toughness a little bit more than Yegor's. And I don't think Yegor's weak. I just look at, he got on the scale at 199 at 6'9". Kasparas Giakoušionis got on the scale. I think he was 207 at 6'4" 4 3/4 barefoot.
Well, isn't that actually bigger than what he went into high school at?
Well, into BYU,
wasn't he like 190 pounds or something like that?
He's put on 12 pounds since he got to BYU. And he's not a guy I look at and go, oh, he could go Giannis, because he doesn't have that kind of frame. He's got more of a Chet frame. He's a long, rangy guy. But look, man, if the Blazers go either Giakoušionis or Yegor Demin, you either have a 6'5", 6'6" point guard in Kasparas, or you've got a 6'9", 6'10" point guard, and the way you can play all of a sudden becomes very different. Like, let's just say they take Yegor and they go into the season and their starting lineup, let's say they start Yegor. I don't think they would, but I'm just saying this for purposes. As it stands right now, you'd have Anthony Simons, Yegor Demin, Toumani Camara, Denny Avdia, DeAndre Ayton. You have a lot of size. You have a lot of versatility in the way you could mix and match guys.
Yeah.
You could get super weird and have Yegor be your ball handler, but have him guard the lesser of the guard assignments if you kind of went in a roundabout way. Toumani at the 1, in a sense, defensively. You have him, because more often than not, he picks up the lead ball handler anyways.
Yeah.
So you hide Yegor on the 2. You could, have Denny at the 3 and go super big and kind of get weird with stuff. And those are the kind of things I start looking at and going, I wonder how that would look.
That also fits to the international connection of this Blazers roster that's been built out.
It's the most international team in the league.
Think about it. Yegor is Russian. Mm-hmm. Then you'd had Denny from Israel, DeAndre Ayton, Bahamas, Banton and Sharp are Canadian. Mm-hmm. Right? Toumani is Belgian. Then you have Sidi Sissoko, who is French.
And Roops.
Roops is French. Teese is Australian, technically.
Wap is Australian and
South Sudanese. And then you have what's the last? Oh, Ant is from Florida, which is basically a different world. So, yeah. That's a very international team.
They have, I believe, 9 players. They have the most international players in the NBA right now.
Yeah. Is Justin Minaya?
Dominican or Puerto Rican, I can never remember. I'm sorry, Justin. But his dad, Omar Minaya, was obviously the manager for the Mets and Yankees.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
Dominican.
Thank you. I always get it backwards. I'm sorry,
right.
Justin. I'm sure if he heard that, he'd slap me.
Well, he's listening right now.
No, he's not listening right now, but it'll get back to him, I'm sure.
You have very high hopes that that's going to get back to him.
No, I don't. I don't want him to do that, because that's one you don't want to get wrong. You don't want to get that one wrong, man. That's not a good one to get wrong. We just look the same. I was like, no, I just forgot. I'm sorry.
Oh man,
kills me.
That. Well, but the international flair of the Blazers roster. That you think about that. There's only 15 slots on that team.
Most of the team is not from here.
Yeah. Well, that's great, and that's to say that DeAndre Ayton has lived his entire life
I
in
think,
the United States.
I think he was there
Matisse
as a little
Thybulle
kid.
went to high school in Seattle.
Yeah, but he did grow up in.
He grew up overseas. But, and look, it's an interesting way to build your roster out, but that's the way the Blazers want it. Mike Schmitz, where did he cut his teeth?
International scouting.
International scouting. Right? Who was coaching the G League team last year?
Their assistant GM, who is from Spain. Yeah.
I mean,
Sergio Oliva has a PhD in computational engineering, if I remember right.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but this is like when you think of the way that this team is going to find value at slots that are not the top of the draft, the international game is exactly where you do that. And it should be as no surprise that the more like we get closer and closer to the draft, if we keep finding more and more international players, that's the angle there, guys.
Well, Kaspar Shakashionis, Lithuanian.
Even though these guys played college basketball, both of them in the United States.
They have international
Igor
experience.
at BYU, Illinois for Jacques Shonis? Shonis from Illinois. They both have played internationally, and like we were just saying, Igor played for Real Madrid in 2023.
They see the game. If you look at those guys in particular, what do they kind of specialize in? It's their IQ, their feel, their playmaking. It's you were brought up and taught the game differently, and in my opinion, better overseas than we do in the U.S. Now, overwhelming talent being overwhelming talent. You take a look at guys like in the next class with AJ DeBonsa or Cooper Flagg in this class. Like, yeah, you want those guys. But when you're talking about the IQ and feel and everything that comes along with this, those are guys I'm interested in. So there's not going to be any workouts this week. Workouts will resume next week after everybody kind of gets back from Memorial Day weekend. But we'll kind of see who they start bringing through town. I'm very interested to see who they can get coming into town at pick number 11. So, all right, coming up next, we're going to pivot back to the world of football as there's some news that's coming out from Ross Dellinger at Yahoo Sports about the College Sports Commission and what the new version of the NCAA and how much teeth they can really have. It's pretty damn interesting. We'll have that next year on Danny and Dusty, 10 The Fan.
I'm Jill.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the NBA's Western Conference Finals begin tonight from Oklahoma City. The Thunder hosting the Timberwolves. 5:30 tip on ESPN. Coverage over across the hall on 910 ESPN. Portland starts at 5 o'clock. The Thunder are 7-point favorites. Blazers center Donovan Clingan named to the all-rookie second team. He averaged 6.5 points, 7.9 boards, and 1.6 blocks per game, all while shooting 54% from the field. The Mariners have won 4 straight games. Their road trip continues this afternoon south side of Chicago against the White Sox. 4:40 first pitch on Root Sports if they get it in. It looks to be a little bit drizzly over there. Seattle going to start Casey Legumina opposite Adrian Hauser for Chicago. The Mariners with a 2.5-game lead over the Astros in the AL West. Multiple reports say owners have unanimously passed the proposal to allow NFL players to participate in flag football at the 2028 LA Olympics. Owners will also vote on a proposal to ban the tush push. And Game 1 of the East Final tonight in the Stanley Cup playoff. Hurricanes hosting the Panthers. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on TNT and Max. Hurricanes are minus 130 on the money line. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. This is Danny and Dusty.
What in God's name is going on in here? What was that ruckus?
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
What ruckus? I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus.
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app.
Did you describe the ruckus, sir?
And 1080.
Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
The Fan.
Hour number 3 here on a Tuesday on Danny and Dusty. Whether you're whether you're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080 and the fan, or twitch.tv/1080 and the fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for hanging out with us. It was wonderful Tuesday. The world of college sports, particularly college football, because that's the driving force, is not done being upended. As Rosh Dellinger, who is, he's become the guy for where this stuff is going. He's got this pretty much on lock and on tap. What the new guidance and what new administration or power broker group is going to take hold of college sports, particularly college football, and have the authority and teeth necessary to put a box around this stuff. And that is from his article, the College Sports Commission. And this is coming about because it always comes back to Tennessee. This is now like the third case law that has come out of Tennessee. On May 1st, Tennessee Senate Bill number 536 detailed that for these state schools, the University of Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and Memphis, and their affiliated collectives, it will allow them to break House settlement-related rules that prevents college sports' new enforcement entity from penalizing those schools. Basically, they're saying, neener, it's our state law, you can't do anything, blah, 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 blah.
Well, I hope Tennessee and Vanderbilt like not being a part of the SEC then, because this is what the College Sports Commission is doing and this is what the biggest problem with the NCAA is that the NCAA is a bunch of university presidents from Division III all the way up to Division I, where everybody has a say on enforcement and guidelines and rules, and some are on a different planet than the others are. Mm-hmm. And so that's where you see some heavy-handed punishments coming down for one school and not the others, because the enforcement committee will also change over. And so there's ones that'll drop the hammer, there's ones that will not. It's a case-by-case basis. There's no real set guidelines because, one, the NCAA is afraid of getting sued and losing. What the College Sports Commission is going to do is, it's not even fully formed yet.
No.
It just has rough drafts that are out there. And what's going to happen is they want the House settlement to be finalized in California, and that's going to happen soon. Once that is finalized, then the College Sports Committee is saying, all right, the haves, we are going to separate you from the have-nots, and you guys are going to agree to abide by these rules, where if you violate these rules, there will be penalties. There will be financial penalties. There will be penalties and sanctions against your university, against your coaches, against the players. And if you agree to be part of the College Sports Commission, then guess what? You will play by our set of rules. And if you don't want to play by them, bye. Yeah. You're gone. We won't play you anymore. And everybody is agreeing by the same set of rules that don't exist right now in the NCAA.
And what the state of Tennessee is doing, backed by those universities, you're going to see this in multiple states because they're going to want to set the bar. That, again, you want to talk about like the idea of like how much enforcement, because you talk about the university presidents and the different people that come through in the rules and infractions committees. Mark Emmert, you're the devil, go to hell. They don't want to deal with that. And so if you set this bar at a certain point, yes, you have to opt in and disregard all that, but you're basically saying, nah, dog, we're not going to be, because Tennessee's not going to be the only state that does this. You're going to see Georgia do this. You're going to see Michigan do this. You're going to see this come up at multiple state legislatures. And what they're trying to do is put a framework around this so they don't end up with the NCAA again.
Well, they'll opt out. Tennessee is doing is saying, we don't want to have the rules.
They aren't going to have that.
Then you won't play.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the whole thing, is that if you want to play by this separate set of rules, then you just won't get scheduled. And here's the deal, is that the conference commissioners, the athletic directors, they're all on board with this because they know there has to be guardrails. It cannot continue the way that it is right now. And if it does continue down this road, like the support of college athletics will start to wane, and it will cripple the sport, and you won't have the fervor for college sports anymore. And you can say all you want, well, yeah, go tell the South that. They're the ones making these laws. When Tennessee can't play Alabama or Georgia or Florida anymore, that's where it gets to the point where they're like, oh, damn. And the reality of it is, government officials in Tennessee may not want to play by those rules. Their fan bases will. Those schools will, because they don't want to be left on the outside looking in, because there's not enough of these universities that are viewing it the same way that Senate Bill 535 or whatever is.
I think it's more of a leverage play than anything else. You set the bar so high, so you're like, oh, you want us to be a part of this, because they're going to want Tennessee to be a part of this. You're going to want the Michigans and the Ohio States. And we talked about this yesterday, and I when I saw this article, I started thinking if this actually kind of tied to this. Did you see that USC and Notre Dame may not continue the rivalry?
Yeah.
And I think that actually does play a part of this, because I think what USC is trying to do is leave everything as open-ended as possible and not get into any contract. And I'm not saying that to excuse this, because I think they absolutely should continue to play. Look, I am a traditionalist in the sense, like, I want to see college football continue to grow and go into this 40-team super conference, which is not traditional. But I don't want to see Oregon and Oregon State not play. I don't want to see USC and Notre Dame not play. I don't want to see those things go away. Those things need to stay a part of this. They absolutely do. But I think you're seeing a lot of the bigger schools in the bigger conferences that are using these leverage plays, like Tennessee, like USC. That you're seeing these going, we want to be able to have the table be as open as possible, but we want to limit.
What would the leverage be for USC in this?
I think they just want to have all of their scheduling opening for everything, depending on how things go as far as the college commission.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Whereas Notre Dame, because they only have the loose ACC affiliation, they're not going to have the same juice as the Big Ten or the SEC.
Notre Dame will be fine.
Well, I know
they'll backfill it with MAC schools and still get in if they're undefeated.
I'm not worried about that, but I'm saying that's why they don't have the same conference footing as the Big Ten.
But they have just as much leverage as anybody. Actually, they probably have more leverage than anybody else. Because,
you think so?
Well, yeah, their athletic director is on the college football playoff committee.
Yeah, that's true.
He's
helpful.
And he's only looking out for one entity, and it's his school.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a lot like North Carolina when their AD recused himself from the NCAA tournament board.
They have a seat at the table for everything. And that, I don't like it, but they have that. They have that juice.
This was not a like USC versus Notre Dame thing.
No.
This was like I was looking at it from USC's point of view of like why they would not want to have the long conference.
I hate the fact that we have non-conference games scheduled out, decades in advance.
Clemson and Notre Dame signed a 12-year.
Well, that one I understand.
Because it's ACC.
Because what they wanted to do was, as part of that ACC agreement, is to say, well, I want to guarantee that we're playing somebody good every year from the ACC. If we're going to play anybody from the ACC, it better be somebody worth a damn. And don't give me Wake Forest and NC State.
Because they might beat
Boston College. Well, Boston College, they do play every year. But don't give me the dregs of the ACC because you guys want to sell more tickets, because that's what the ACC is trying to do to Notre Dame now. Is like, well, Duke can't sell out a football game, but they can if Notre Dame comes.
And that's kind of the same thing we're seeing at the ACC in basketball with what they changed in their basketball schedule, having that 2 extra floating games now in their conference play so that the North Carolinas and the Dukes of the world can prop up the other schools because of the TV revenue.
Yeah, I'm here for the College Sports Commission having guardrails. I think that the most important part is that it's only the power schools that do it, because even though the MAC, which I love, in Conference USA, in the American Conference, even though they're technically FBS programs, they're not. Yeah. They're not on the same playing field as the actual power conferences. They're committed to athletics. And like, there's been studies done. Guy on Twitter, what's his name? He's like Big Ten something guy. He did like a full-on breakdown, like a case study of how much money winners and losers have in college football.
Do you want to get to that next?
Yeah, we can.
That's exactly where I was going to go with this.
It's something.
Yeah, there's a lot there. The almighty dollar is pretty damn indicative as far as outperforming expectations and wins. We'll get to that next here on Danny and Dusty today, the fan. Coming out last segment, we were alluding to the amount of money that goes into college football and how indicative it can truly be for the haves and the have-nots. If you've got the money, the data shows it turns into wins.
Yeah, a guy on little Twitter bots, their Big Ten information college football fan, he just puts out a lot of stuff that some of it is nonsensical, and he does say it's sourced. Other things he gets right and nails it. But he did something that you can look at and you can just go from start to finish. It's a ridiculously long post on Twitter. But basically, he went and tried to look for, all right, between 2022 and 2024, can you take and correlate the money spent on your football program and the number of wins that you had? And what he ended up finding, and you can go through and read all of it because it's very, very long. But the gist of it is this. The more money you spend, the more wins you have. That is it. The average spending for a team with 9 or more wins in the Big Ten and Power 5 is $64.8 million per year.
Mm-hmm.
The average spend for teams with less than 9 wins is $50 million. So that $15 million is a significant gap in success on the field.
And it's actually wider than that because you have a school like Nebraska that is throwing this off because they are up there with the Ohio States, Oregons, Washingtons, and Michigans of the world, spending $70+ million and not getting the wins to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these kind of case studies, these are I know specifically are done in the NBA. Your basically your cost per win and how those things level out when you're looking at rookie scale contracts, MLEs, like this. These are the kind of things that agents and general managers discuss when they're talking about signing players to deals. And this is in the same kind of thing that you see in college football, where once you get a few years worth of data, which we saw the initial push in college football, we were hitting, $6, $7, $8, $9 million for a quarterback. That threshold has come back down. Now, don't get me wrong. There are guys that are still getting bags that are, outside those windows, as we just saw with the number one commit in the country ending up at Miami. Was it last week?
Yeah.
He got what, 3.5?
2.5.
2.5 for a tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. It's the number one recruit in the class. And typically those guys, $2.5, $3 million, pretty normal.
Yep.
But we also saw this with guys like Jaden Rashada hopping around for money. We saw, was it Bryce Underwood going to Michigan, getting was it $8 or $9 million deal over multiple years? Like, you have to establish basically a generation of wins per dollar. And that's over a program. That's what this looks like. And you have to, whether you're talking salary cap or not, you have to have a general understanding of what that is, because otherwise your margin of error is this giant scope. This shows you that even without the rails on it, it's already kind of establishing itself. This is what we were talking about when we've kind of gone through this, and I've said, it just feels like when we were talking about Nico going to UCLA, this feels like this is the market just doing what the market does. It's not going to keep going and going and going and going. Schools just aren't going to be dumb about this.
No, but it does raise the question of, is that something that the new College Sports Commission is going to bring up as part of how they move forward? Is, all right, if promotion and relegation aren't going to be a thing, if you look at the world of college athletics and college sports being the success and you wanting to be a part of it, is there going to be a minimum spending on your football program that you have to meet? A threshold of, all right, you want a seat at the big boys table.
You're either in or you're not.
You are going to pony up, because there isn't an excuse anymore with the escalation of the TV rights that we're going to be seeing upwards of $100 million per school at these power conferences for you to spend on your football program.
And this looks more like a salary floor than a salary ceiling.
Than a salary cap.
Yeah.
Now, the most committed programs are always going to blow by that.
Yes.
But here's the thing with college athletics, and one thing that they look at is you can also look at investment in your facilities as It doesn't go on the bottom line of, hey, this was a football expenditure.
No.
And he brings up in this that Washington State was not a big spender with Mike Leach, but what they did do was they improved their facilities across the board. And if you have great coaching, if you have within that great coaching staff has acquisition of talent and identification of diamonds in the rough, you can perform like the big boys do. See Mike Leach, Washington State with Gardner Minshew.
Or more recently, Jed Fish at Arizona. They spent a metric crap ton of money on the outside.
Kurt Cignetti at Indiana, they actually ponied up a lot more money towards their football program to improve all of the facilities in the years leading up to Cignetti. He comes in, they pop, not just because he's a great coach, but because they had the infrastructure already there, and then they spent more money on it. There is a correlation to this, and it's pretty clear when you look at it. Like there's
Nebraska.
They even have a graph there where it's like wins and money spent. The more money you spend, the more games you win.
It's a pretty straight line.
And it's not a surprise to anybody.
No.
But I think what we need to start adjusting to is that these are going to be part of essentially like, if you want to play the game, if you want to be part of the big boy crew, you've got to spend that money, and it's going to become more and more apparent that the teams that are going to be left on the outside looking in are the ones that do not want to or cannot spend that money.
And for a point of reference, Indiana pre-Cignetti was around $35 million.
Yeah.
So you can already see the very, very clear line of how different that looks. And now the data from last year obviously isn't available yet.
But the year prior, so 2023, they spent $61 million on upgrades across the board to their facilities, to the football program itself. And then they go and they pop this past year for 11 wins from 3 wins the year before with a brand new roster. They were crossing that line of the $62.3 million, which they say is that floor to be competitive.
And that's what's going to be interesting is like what schools can the Boise States and Arizona States and the Washington States and all these other schools that are really good at mining and finding these diamonds in the rough where you can get the cost-benefit analysis. And I know some people don't want to hear the analytics of this stuff, but like that's how the schools that are on the next rung down are going to have to do this.
Well, and look, if you have a school like Arizona State, or Illinois is a great example of this.
Yeah.
Because as part of this, they said that Illinois spends around like $30 to $35 million on their program. They win 8 games. Like, if they are forced to spend that money, the school is, and they're forced to say, all right, Brett Bielema, you finally get the keys to a Ferrari. What does that look like?
What does that look like? Because they're spending money on football and basketball. Like, I don't know if you've seen Illinois' recruiting class on the basketball side of things and what they've been able to do in the transfer portal and them extending their coach there as well. You're seeing like all of these schools are starting to build these not necessarily fences, but like they are building these structures to sustain and build up because they know what's coming.
Yep. So, it's going to be interesting. It'll be fun.
Well, what's coming up tonight is the Western Conference Finals Game 1 featuring the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it's a family feud. We'll get into that next. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with a Sports Center update.
Hamburgers, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, the NBA's Western Conference Finals indeed begin tonight from Oklahoma City. The Thunder hosting the Timberwolves. It's a 5:30 tip on ESPN. We'll have coverage on 9:10 ESPN Portland beginning at 5 o'clock. The Thunder are 7-point favorites. A little closer to home, Blazers center Donovan Clingan named to the all-rookie second team. He averaged 6.5 points, 7.9 boards, and 1.6 blocks per game while shooting 54% from the floor. On the baseball diamond, winners of 4 straight games, the Mariners road trip continues this afternoon on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox. 4:40 first pitch on Root Sports. Starting for Seattle, Casey Legumina opposite Adrian Hauser for Chicago. The Mariners with a 2.5 game lead over the Astros in the AL West. Multiple reports say owners have unanimously passed the proposal to allow NFL players to participate in flag football at the 2028 LA Olympics. Owners also will vote on a proposal to ban the tush push. And on the ice, Game 1 of the East Final tonight in the Stanley Cup playoff. Hurricanes hosting the Panthers. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on TNT and Max. The Hurricanes minus 130 on the money line. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan.
Oh, yeah, baby. Western Conference Finals get underway tonight. Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And as I alluded to, it is a family feud as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will take on Nickeil Alexander-Walker, his cousin. This is from Nickeil Alexander-Walker in Shoot Around. My mom texted Shai's dad saying, "Oh, it's war now."
Ooh.
It's gonna.
I like this.
I do too. It's gonna be fun.
I think I know who's better.
Yeah, well, it happens. They did play 4 times this season.
Okay.
The Timberwolves were missing Rudy Gobert in 2 of the 4 games, so it's not a ton you can take from this. But the Timberwolves did look like they could handle Oklahoma City Thunder. Like that looked like it could be a thing, but there's a lot that you kind of have to squint at because it was a different team.
Mm-hmm.
And with Rudy Gobert out, Jalen Clark was getting some starts during that, rookie for the Timberwolves. And actually, among players who guarded SGA, I think it was like a minimum of 50 possessions, he was, I think, second or third best.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So again,
a little familiarity.
Yeah, there's that, but there's also you look at the Timberwolves. We talked about this in the opening hour. Styles make fights, and it got really interesting in the Oklahoma City Thunder series against the Denver Nuggets. Is as the series went on, the Thunder got smaller. They played Cason Wallace more. They played Wiggins more. They played Isaiah Joe more. They put Caruso. Yes, he guarded Jokic, but it was a two-man effort. It was Caruso and Chet. It was Caruso and Hartenstein. Like he fronted, and they overloaded the defense. They said, "We'll live with somebody else on the backside, whether it's Julian Strawther or Russell Westbrook, anybody else taking those shots. We're fine with that." I don't think you can necessarily do that against the Minnesota Timberwolves, because if you all of a sudden start switching and getting weird, somebody who's very big is going to have a very serious mismatch. Because we talk about this Thunder or this Timberwolves team. Ant Edwards is 6'5". Naz Reid is 6'9". Rudy's 7'2". Jaden McDaniels is 6'10". Julius Randle is 6'8", 6'9", and is a bull in a china shop. They are a big freaking team.
Mm-hmm.
They're a good defensive team. They are also one of the most unpredictable and dumb teams in the entire NBA. When they are, of the four teams remaining, they're the most turnover prone. They will, like, as great as the Warriors dynasty was,
mm-hmm.
you could count on Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green to have a handful of the dumbest turnovers you've ever seen in basketball.
Yeah.
That was their Achilles heel. Remember the Steph Curry behind the back pass out of bounds multiple times?
Yes, I do.
It's just like, for being one of the 10, 12 best players of all time, that is Steph's shortcoming. And you look at Ant Edwards, he gets loose with the ball. Julius Randle, in his down years, gets loose with the ball. Rudy Gobert can get loose with the ball. And like, you look up and down this team, Mike Conley is the only guy I trust on that team to do the most brain-neutral, stupid thing you could ever think.
And that's it right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's out there. He is the organizer.
Yep.
He's the guy that kind of holds everything together, makes sure that the dumb too hard.
Yeah, you can't go full dumb, and that's it's going to be really, really interesting to see how many minutes he plays.
That's because you can't play him a lot.
No,
and
30. I think he's 38 now.
I will say, we talked about this earlier. The two guys that both of us brought up earlier may be the guys that become the factor, the X factor. I don't want to say the X factor.
Mm-hmm.
A main factor for Minnesota's success. Rudy Gobert.
Mm-hmm.
Is the guy that you said,
yep.
This means a whole hell of a lot to him individually. And then I think Dante DiVincenzo also has that. If he can play within himself and be an organizer, which we've seen at times in long stretches from him, holding it together when Mike Conley's not on the floor is going to be the most important part.
The Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 7 against the Denver Nuggets, 37-7.
Yikes.
Points off turnovers.
37-7,
and that final score was 32-point win. So you don't get that. You don't again, but that's what the Thunder do. They turn you over more than anybody. They are lethal in transition because they are smaller and faster and more athletic. That's what they do. They are not a great half-court team.
Mm-mm.
You know what Minnesota does? They put you in the half court and they beat the hell out of you. What does Julius Randle do? Does Julius Randle want to run up and down the floor?
Mm-mm.
No, he wants to get in the mid post, draw two, beat you up. What does Ant Edwards do? He wants to get downhill, beat you up. Like that's when you talk about styles making fights, Denver's style was Jokic is just better. Minnesota's style is we are physical, we are big, we are nasty. This is it. That's why Minnesota was such a foil for Denver over the last couple of years, is that their style was, they could impose that. And I think that's going to be the deciding factor in this series is whose style is imposed on the other. Because if Minnesota turns this ball over, they're going to get smoked.
Well, but if they are able to keep it in the half court and bully, they are going to have a ton of success.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times I saw Chet Holmgren prior to Game 7 when Alex Caruso held his ground more, get pushed. Chet would get pushed from the free throw line to the first row.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was Jokic, and it wasn't Jokic, like, trying to back him down. If he gets bullied, and the Thunder start getting bullied around, things unravel pretty damn quickly.
What's going to be really interesting is how Mark Daigneault deploys all of his guys, because he plays 10, 12 guys. In a 7-game series, you don't want to just fire every cannon you've got. Does he hold some of the stuff back? Does he wait to kind of see game 2, game 3, game 4? I've seen some people say, well, Caruso was so good and so important against that Denver series. Do you start him now? And you only go one big. And I'm like, you want to go one big when your Achilles heel in your growth has been your lack of size and physicality against one of the biggest teams in the league?
Yeah, no.
I don't think that's what you want to do. Look, if you're going to, that's something you can keep up your sleeve, game 2, game 3, game 4, where you can pull that out. I don't think you want to go into the series and go, we're going to change what we are right out of the gate.
That's a beautiful game 7 move, what he did.
Yeah.
Which is,
they leaned into it a little bit in game 6, and they really got after it in game 7.
What are you going to do? Because it worked in game 6, and there's got to be the thought in the back of David Adelman's head and everybody else in Denver that there's no effing way they can do that for an entire game. Yeah, they did.
Because they got so disruptive, and they were able to generate those turnovers. And that's the thing.
That Caruso, it is so stupid on the surface. But he's the perfect guy to do that with. And there's very few guys in the NBA.
It's like Drew Holiday. Like, everybody's like, "Oh, you should get one of those guys." I'm like, yeah, there's like 4 of them in the entire league,
and none of them are more unassuming than Alex Caruso.
and look, to kind of point this back to the Blazers a little bit, that's kind of what Toumani is. Remember, that's a guy who against Denver in a 2-game set guarded Jamal Murray, didn't do anything, and then Jokic went off, and then switched on to Jokic the next game. Murray went for a 50 spot, and Jokic had a meh Jokic game. But having those guys, like that's why teams want those guys.
Yep.
That's why they're so important, because they are playoff risers. They are guys that can dictate and be disruptive. I am really, 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 really looking forward to this series. Number one, it's the new blood. We talked about this a little bit yesterday when Luke was in here. What's really interesting about the 4 teams in the conference finals, they're all guard dominant.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I saw this. You've got SGA, you've got Ant, you've got Brunson, you've got Hallie. The 4 most important players.
As we're talking about the pivot back to the big man.
Yeah.
But
the 4 most important players in the conference finals are all 6'5" or smaller.
And here's the thing about all of those guys, though. With they're all downhill get to the rim, though. Like every single one of them.
Which is why bigs matter.
And this is why you're sitting there and you're looking at it like, think of Ant, who volume for 3. I know it. Ant Edwards shoots a lot of threes. When he is at his best, he is getting to the hole. And he is a freight train, for God's sakes. And a lot of the times he's taking those threes are because they are taking every single...
loading the paint.
Every precaution they can to make sure he's not getting to the rim. Brunson, get to the rim. SGA, creator, can do a lot of everything, but he is on your heels, rim pressure. It is so damn fun to watch. Like, all of these guys, they have exactly what you're... Hallie, one of the best passers in the game, and when he's getting downhill, you have no idea where the ball is going to be going. It's fun as hell to see.
It really is, and I think we're reaching this point where modern basketball is circling back to what we grew up with. So much about bigs and physicality and rim pressure.
Jeffrey Jordan.
But it really, but no, it really is. It's like the game it's like taking the best from the eras now and putting it all together, and it's why I'm glad to see the Celtics out.
Harsh.
No, I mean, I am. I hate, like, I'm not saying that what they were doing wasn't good basketball, quote unquote, or anything like that, or I just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not like I couldn't appreciate what they're doing, but it wasn't fun to watch. Drive and kick, drive and kick, drive and kick, drive. Look, it's more to it than that, but that's like when you boil it down, that's what it felt like all the time. And they just couldn't get out of that when it came push come to shove.
It is really fun to watch, though, when those shots fall. When those shots fall, it is glorious to watch.
It's not my brand of basketball. The brand of basketball that we have in the conference finals is exactly what I like to see. So selfishly, I'm very invested in both these series. Because there's so many storylines, because not only are we getting this guard dominant group from this 4, but it's a new era.
Yeah.
I saw I think it was ESPN put this out earlier. From the Olympic team last year, only Hallie and Ant are left from Team USA.
Yeah, I'll be damned.
You got
Rudy Gobert playing though. For Team France.
Oh, there's a few Olympians that are left,
Yeah.
but like those are the two guys from Team USA that are left standing.
Huh.
And remember, Ant Edwards came into that Olympic camp saying it was his team.
His team, baby.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
and Hallie was the guy that got the A on the group project.
That's well, and Jason Tatum.
Yeah, well, you know, but Hallie embraced it. Hallie embraced it. We do love that.
I love that.
All right, coming up next, we have a little bit of news in the sports media world as Inside the NBA is coming to a close on TNT. Kenny Smith is speaking up about a transition that he's maybe not too thrilled about. We'll get that next year on Danny Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Kenny Smith, one of the forefathers of Inside the NBA on TNT, spoke out about the crew moving over to ESPN. So, for those that aren't aware, the intellectual property that is Inside the NBA will indeed move over under the new TV deal to ESPN. And after saying that they weren't going to do it, they did ultimately end up going, all four of them. Kenny, Ernie, Shaq, Chuck. And through this process, Kenny Smith is now saying that he's kind of uncomfortable with the change. And I get where he's coming from. You and I have both worked for other places and other networks. And the things that kind of come along with that for vision and goals and everything that comes along with that. Kenny Smith said that we have the same crew of people doing the same show. But the timing, are we a half hour now? Are we 45 minutes? Are we 15 minutes? Those are things you can control when you own your IP, but we don't anymore. That was the only part that made me uncomfortable and disheartened because I felt that the four of us should have went into ABC to negotiate that deal. I'm not saying that our executives don't know how to do that, but we're the IP now. And it does get interesting because do you remember last year during the playoffs when ESPN/ABC would go to a halftime or quarter break and go to the desk for a minute and 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then go to 7 minutes of commercials
Mm-hmm.
and then go to a minute and 10 seconds of the desk.
You know what that won't happen with these guys though, because ESPN knew the product that they were putting out there It wasn't good enough to push out any of the ad space for.
Mm-hmm.
And if they think for a second that they're going to be able to tamp down and tell those guys how they're going to do their job when they've been doing it, all 4 of those guys are going to walk. And they will walk in an instant.
Yeah.
And they'll do it together, and they'll do it in the middle of a damn show. And they won't feel bad about it one stinking bit because none of those guys are hurting for money right now.
No, God, no.
And all of them will still work for TNT, and they'll find a way to put them on. They even floated the idea of doing an NBA show when they didn't even have games.
Standalone.
Just doing that inside the NBA for an hour every week and just saying, all right, guys, you guys just go and take over whatever they're trying to fill the air with, and they will do it, and people will watch it because it's the most entertaining sports television show on TV, period. Full stop. There's nothing that touches it. It really does not. They are informative. They are funny. They have great chemistry together.
Entertainment.
It is an incredible television show, and they will do it by them damn selves if ESPN gets in the way. I understand what Jet is trying to say, but I don't have that worry because as bad as it can be at times, there's a very large awareness of the product that ESPN has. And when they have that, you don't screw with that.
And that's going to be the interesting thing because, Shaq, Kenny, and Charles. Now, Ernie's not going to say anything because he's the ultimate pros pro in media. And
he's not going to say anything.
But Ernie, Kenny, and Shaq have all expressed uneasiness because if you're not dumb and you know people across the networks, those guys have talked to guys at ESPN, and we saw the golden era, the golden goose of ESPN, whether it was, Stu or SVP or DP or Eisen or Neil Everett, and the way those guys were all forced out and sunsetted because of their personality became what drove ESPN, and ESPN didn't like that.
Well, that also is on a daily show. This is not. And what these guys are all doing is putting out these signals so everybody sees it beforehand. Yes. So if anything changes, everybody's going to point to, see,
it's ESPN. This is not us. This is not, because again, it's the whole TNT crew. It's the same. It's not just
it also gets
air.
ESPN to get off their back.
Yes.
That's the main part.
It's clearing the path. And here's the thing. These guys have been doing this for 20 years. They have the equity to do this.
Yep.
Not everybody can do this.
And a lot of people try it, even though they don't have that equity.
It does not work.
Not one bit. Not one bit. We need to say goodbye to Norm.
We do.
One more time.
Afternoon, everybody.
Hey, Mr. Peterson, what's the story?
Boy meets beer. Boy drinks beer. Boy gets another beer.
George Wendt passed away, age of 76 today. Norm Peterson from the great show Cheers, one of the super fans from the Bears off of SNL, passing away at 76 years old. And as we found out today, uncle of Jason Sudeikis.
Yes.
Ted Lasso himself.
Crazy.
I don't see the family resemblance there.
No. I wonder what mom looks like.
I just don't see it. Just don't see it. Yeah, Sudeikis' mom was George Wendt's sister.
Yeah.
So, R.I.P. to one of the great character actors of our time, George Wendt.
It's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
These are one of those ones like we all are old enough that we grew up with that. So it's one of the things that sucks about getting older, man.
Afternoon, everybody.
Hey, Norm, how's the world been treating you?
Like a baby treats a diaper.
Phenomenal. The great George Wendt, passing away at 76 years old. All right, that does it for us. We got a Tuesday in the books.
Indeed.
We'll be back tomorrow, though.
We will.
Because that's a Wednesday. And we got 3-hour radio program.
And I don't have to check my watch. I think Wednesday's the day I check the watch the most.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So midweeky.
How long is that bit going to happen for you, you think?
Life.
Forever?
Life.
All right.
Maybe if I have kids, it'll change. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe. That's a big maybe. All right, that does it for us. Up next, you got 4 hours of power from their mouths to your ears. It's prime time with Isaac and Suk, a Nemec in Suk edition.
Indeed.
Right here at The Fan. Have a great Tuesday, everybody.
Bye.
Afternoon, everybody.
How are you today, Mr. Peterson?
Never been better, Woody. And just once, I'd like to be better.
Hey, it's Suk, and for many